Francis was saying, just donate 2 hours of your time to the project Okoa Kenya. It's not that bad. I've put my foot forward. I am building an organization with a few Mzalendo Kenyans of mine in Kenya, and we are really working towards delivering a new country. As you say, Francis, we can volunteer our time, and everybody in Kenya, you cannot be defeated. 56 million people cannot be defeated by one person. If you've got any skill that you would like to donate to our organization, we're calling ourselves Taifa Mpya. That we reimagine. Kenya reimagined. What is that country that we want to see? We have to be deliberate in helping midwife it. And all of you, please.
Hold there. Hold on there. Hold on there, Wanjiru. Don't go. Just hold on there. You'll tell us more about this Taifa Mpya of Okoa Kenya. You said something of Okoa Kenya? Taifa Mpya. Okay, hold on. You'll tell us more about it shortly. Let me bring Chibanzi.
Yes, sir.
Daktari, how are you?
Fine.
How is Mombasa?
Niko Nairobi. I hope you can hear me.
Are you there, sir? We can't hear you.
We can hear you. I can hear him on my side.
Okay.
Oh, he's talking.
Yeah. So I think I've listened in on what Wanjiru has said and listened in on what Nelson has spoken. And in reality, we are faced with a very difficult and not even difficult. What we have is people who don't really care for human life. What's the situation on the current social health authority and the insurance fund and all that? So what happened is exactly what has been described by Wanjiru, that systems were switched off on Tuesday, on 1st of October. The NHIF systems were switched off. So the question that then comes is, if you're rolling out, you need to prepare for the system in terms of making sure that you have providers on board, the healthcare facilities on board, you have the system on board, you must have done a pilot. Up until now, there is no contract between the social health authority and the healthcare providers. The healthcare providers here being the facilities themselves that will offer services. So it's more of politics being played around, that you go to the hospital, you will get treatment and all that. But in reality, there's nothing in place to transition this from NHIF to SHIF or SHA. There's nothing literally. So, and then the other thing is, what is not being said, and this is information that is not out there in the public, that the rates that have been prescribed here, the private sector is not on board. The private sector is not on board because they are not in the business of, they're in business. They're not in the business of offering healthcare like in public facilities. Public facilities are not making profit. Private facilities are people who've set up their facilities, improved their services more than what is in the public, and they've invested. So their profit margins that they normally look at. So the contracts that are going to be signed, and that is not being said and not being told to Kenyans, is that you will have to co-pay. By co-pay, what does that mean? It means even after you've been deducted the 2.75% if you're salaried, for those who are salaried, regardless of the amount, if you're earning 100,000, 50,000, it's a significant amount, because every month at the end of the year we're looking at 60, 70, up to 100,000, 300,000. You will still have, when you go to a facility, and this is the other lie, that when you go to a facility that is public, you have the choice, public or private. So if you go to a public, there's no extra costs. That's what is being said. But in the private sector, you'll basically have to pay up. So after the deductions, you still have to pay for service. And the paying for service is only two options. Either you procure private insurance cover for you and your family. And in reality, this is also not very cheap. I mean, how many Kenyans can today afford private insurance? It's very minimal Kenyans. And the other thing is, if you can't afford the private health insurance, you must look for money to pay for the service. So there's an argument from the government side that it's happening anyway. But you see, the amounts that people have been deducted from their salaries have allowed them to be able to pay for people somehow. They're keen, I mean, their relatives, and that's where people talk about black tax and all that. So essentially, it's a lie that you can choose any facility. The other angle that I think, if you watched what was happening in Parliament last week when the Ministry of Health went to present their case, and when they were even asked about the 104 billion Kenya shillings for the privately sourced tender to build that technology system, one thing that came out is that an upgrade of the NHIF system would have cost maybe 700 million. Of course, 700 million looks quite a lot. It's actually a lot. And then the other thing is that even with that, the amount of monies that have been allocated to offer and pay for service, which is what they're saying, there are 3 funds, you will get paid for chronic diseases like what Wanjiru was talking about in terms of diabetes, dialysis and all that. They have underfunded, they have not allocated. The Ministry of Health in May, June went to Parliament and requested for monies that were slashed slashed by 95% almost, to very minimal amounts that will not cover everyone in this country in terms of that. So they are banking on the social health insurance fund, in which we'll be contributing to offer service to people. Now, when it comes to the informal sector, which is the biggest proportion of Kenyans, the system that they're talking about, this means testing. It's not even working. They have no way of telling who will work. In fact, at some point, you had in Parliament them saying that it will be like Hustler Fund. And we all know the story of Hustler Fund. I don't need to go into the details of that. So essentially what you're seeing is that because salaried people are out there, it's easier to tax their monies from the employer. We just go ahead with that. The figures that are being proposed are not realistic. I mean, you've taxed people for housing levy to pay for houses that we will not even benefit from. Then secondly, now you're bringing in this health tax that is only being paid by a proportion of people. So I watched this video of this old man who was crying. I think most of you have seen it, who was talking about how he has no money, he has kidney failure, he's feeling sick, and it's completely heartbreaking. These people have no empathy. And you look at what is being propagated, and I listened to what Nelson was saying, and it's not any further from the truth, in the sense that there's state capture to some extent. There's state capture actually, because how would you allocate more money for procuring a system and less money to offer services to people? It does not make sense unless people are going to benefit from this money that you're allocating at very high proportions. And that is where, unfortunately, if we do not talk, especially us in the health sector who've worked in this sector for years, we are going to see Kenyans suffer. This narrative that you will no longer have to pay harambes for your people, you will get free service, it's a lie. Because at the end of the day, you will still have to pay for yourself and pay for your families and pay for your relatives and pay for everyone who in your circle, because we are all supporting someone somewhere. That's the reality. So you're reducing the amount of money we are earning, all of us, whether we're in the formal or informal sector, and then you're squeezing us further by saying we have to co-pay. So where is this money going to come from? So you have a government that is making decisions that are utopic. They're out of touch with reality. There's one point that I also want you to, and I'll finish on this one, is this, that if you look at all this, it's very silent on how the political class will seek healthcare. If indeed there was sincerity and that we are all equal, or we are taking from, they're saying Robin Hood tax policies, look at the covers that the political class has. It's 10 million plus, 5 million plus for, and they have everything. But who is paying for these covers? It is us. It is the money that we are taxed that is going to pay for this. So it's a class divide here, where because you're a political class, you will get the best of healthcare at the expense of Kenyans who are contributing their taxes. Then you go ahead and tax them more, give them a very minimum basic package that does not, for instance, 900 shillings per person per household. If you have children, you know how many times children fall sick in 3 months, in even a year. So if you go to the facility, you're told, and that is what's going to happen, that you will be billed. This is the amount. There was a doctor's consultation. There was tests that were done. And then now we have to give you medicine. So the bill comes to 3,000 or 2,000. And so you're told the government has paid for you 900 shillings as part of the universal health coverage that they're calling. So you have to pay for the rest. So if you don't have an insurance, please pay cash. That's going to be the scenario. So you can imagine how many people are going to go through. And then the last point that I've just remembered that is very critical is that the same Ministry of Health conducted an assessment of all healthcare facilities in terms of service delivery. And in reality, our facilities are not ready to offer this service. 7% of 14,000 facilities being ready to offer outpatient services, for instance. That's a very, very, very low figure. So you're telling us that you will send us there, then you go there are no drugs, there is no equipment to cater for you, and then if the service is poor and the queues are long, you have to find an alternative. The alternative, you still have to pay more. In all honesty, this system is a scam. And the worst thing that has ever happened is that they never listened to stakeholder recommendations. And I'm talking because I'm in this sector and I understand, and I've been following this. No stakeholder recommendations were listened to. They stuck to where they were, and up until now, the position is where they are. They're going to go ahead with it, whether we like it or we don't like it. So it's upon us to decide as the people how we're going to tackle this and how we're going to push back, because if we don't push back, they will keep pushing. So it's a pushback. And I've been in this, I mean, it's almost 10 years now. We've been in the union before. We have been jailed at some point. During COVID, we saw how people were dying, doctors were dying, and then now came the COVID scandal. It's a systematic thing, and we have to find a way of pushing back on this. Thank you, Amerix.
All right. Most of you don't know Daktari here. Daktari was among the union leaders who were jailed. Was that committee?
I was in Athi River, but we went to committee at some point.
Yeah, so there's something you said when we were chatting. You told me that 20% of Kenyans are going to carry the burden of 80% of Kenya. Maybe you can summarize that?
Yeah, so this is how I'm going to explain it. If you look at the formal sector, which means those people who are earning salaries, every month they're paid a salary and they're employed, the percentage is that minimal percent. Our statistics are almost 20%. And then the bigger proportion of Kenyans are in the informal sector. Either you work in the Juakali sector or you have a business that you are running, and so you're self-employed. And that is where the problem is. And by that I meant that for us, those of us who are working in the formal sector who have salaries, it is very easy for them to say this is which is what the law says that they have formed. This is a statutory deduction. So it will be deducted from your salary whether you like it or not. And I've been seeing over the weekend a few letters going around from employers in the public sector that go to, because for one thing they did is migrated all formal sector employees from NHIF into SHA, and then they sent messages. I think there were messages going around last week telling people to go and fill in their profiles. And that is also not working, by the way, on the back end, because the systems are not ready for this. So that means it gives them an assurance of this money that you're going to start with for the Social Health Authority and Social Health Insurance Fund, if you listen to them. Now, the informal sector is where now they're saying we're going to do means testing. They'll come to your house, look at your TV, look at what you own, and then fill in some few questions. And then now from there, they'll determine how much you'll be paid. Now, if you're saying, and they're saying it's going to work like the Hustler Fund, look at the Hustler Fund and how they're also struggling with the 7 billion that they're unable to get from Kenyans. And if you look at the university funding model that also talked about the same thing, means testing and the banding and all that, it's not worked. It has to be reviewed. So now you're causing chaos in a sector that is literally life and death. I listened to Wanjiru, and when someone is sick, they're chronically ill, they don't have time. It's either they get treatment, or if they don't get treatment, they will die. So how do you roll out a system you have not prepared and you're insisting that it must go on, despite being told you need to do 1, 2, 3. They have not signed contracts. So that is what I meant, that if you look at it critically, they have no way of getting money from the people in the informal sector. They're just talking of means, which is very theoretical, but practically, how will a mama mboga, chini mwenye anauza mboga pale, how will that mama mboga go into a phone? In fact, wengine hata wako na kabambe. You're saying you're sending community health promoters, they fill in. And then the thing is this, that if you're unable to pay the premium, because the premium per law that is in the Social Health Authority Act is that you should pay, if you're not in the formal sector, you should pay the full amount in a year. That 300 shilling you talk about, you're not going to pay it every month. It has to be paid times 12 months, which is what? 12 times 300 is 3,600. So they're saying, because you're unable to pay, your income is erratic, we are going to give you a loan. And then once you've gotten the loan to pay for the insurance, you will have to now pay back the loan according to how much you're getting, even if it's erratic. Why are we going into financing in terms of a loan? Does it even make sense? It doesn't, in all honesty. And that is why I'm saying this minimal percent will actually take care of the bigger population. That's not our responsibility. They're collecting taxes from us. So once they've collected taxes from us, it's a responsibility of the government to now offer the service. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Daktari, for that. Na kwa wale wenye wamestruggle kusikia, daktari anasema hivi. Anasema unapata hospitali umepewa 10,000 na hiyo kitu yao inaitwa SHA, SHIF. Unafika kwa hospitali, bili inakuja ni 30,000. So inamaanisha mgonjwa wako hawezi toka hospitali until you pay the 30,000. So this SHA sheet has given you 10,000. So you have to look for the 20,000. Otherwise, hawezi toka kwa hiyo hospitali. That is the mess that this sheet is creating in this country. Na ukiona hapo topic ya leo nimeita our sweat, our blood, our urine and our tears. Our blood. Tuna struggle kama wa Kenya, tuna sweat. Watu wako renal departments wanafanywa dialysis because of their urine. People are crying because their people are dying because of this shit. Darwin, Ambuka.
Yes, my brother Amelis.
Go on.
Thank you very much. SHIF, it is the biggest scam. It will be bigger than Goldenberg. I think Kamlesh Patni will be reading, and it will reduce Kamlesh Patni with his scandals to look like a joker. Because what is happening, it is a direct politicization of health. You know, there are things you can't touch. There are things you can't run politics deep into them. Ukienda huko ulete siasa mingi, you kill the structure, and these are the core of the nation. When you bring politics into health, when you bring politics into agriculture, and when you bring politics into education, basically you are killing the entire infrastructure of the country. So right now, we've people wanalazimisha SHIF ingie into play. Now, SHIF is a boat that is porous before it starts. Actually, it's a stillbirth. It's a dead on arrival. When you are launching something and it's not peaking, the public participation is dull. The people feeling it carries the canopy of oppression, then definitely that's a wrong ship to board. I'll start here, like how my brother Dr. Mwachonda, and thank you Mwachonda for expounding some of these things. You cannot subject 3 million civil servants to pay for the health of 50 million Kenyans. There can be better models which can accommodate an entire, but you're deducting 2.75% of gross ni before hata taxi guzwe, then you're deducting such an amount of a civil servant, which means if you're earning 1 million bob, unaenda kutoa 2.75% of that. So basically they are forcing you to double tax so that they can have a bigger pool of where money can be stolen. And this is where the ridiculousness is. What are the benefits of the monies that we are being deducted every month? What are the benefits of the monies that they are telling you as a boda boda or a mama mboga that we will come to pime TV yako ni how many inch? So when you come to my house and my son has bought me a 55-inch TV, does that mean that that is my house worth? Oh, okay. So maybe you took a loan in your local chama or a merry-go-round and you owe a few cups which are of glass. Does that give the government audacity to tell that you are as worth as the cup which are in your cupboard? That is total nonsense and a total sham. That is why SHIF is coming to it's a fraud from the start. And I'll tell you practically what is happening in the hospitals. Last week, I work in the MTRH, and I've seen common letters from MTRH, from KUTRH, from KNH, letters which are similar, only the font and the nini, pale juu imebadilika, the emblem, but similar, trying to prove that, people are being treated and SHIF is working and people are coming. I saw a letter which was very laughable from KU. We've done 10 dialysis. Come on, why are you bragging for doing 10 dialysis to Kenya? What nonsense is that? Dialysis is people's right. This is how these people are getting their health and orienting themselves as per health demands of them. You can't write to people letters bragging how you've done dialysis. So is that how cheap you've become because you're just trying to force some insurance to people? On Wednesday last week, I was supposed to make a theater list in Spain to be operated on Thursday. NHIF owes MTRH over 2.3 billion shillings. Now, there is a rollover. Watu wanafaa waingie SHIF. Aya, kuna mtu mwenye amepata pre-authorization ya NHIF who we were supposed to operate on Thursday. Then when they are coming, we are struggling to have them on the theater list, and we are told, oh, we even have struggles with NHIF. They have not even cleared us. So they'd rather come when SHIF has stabilized. The fact is, SHIF will never stabilize. It will not stabilize soon. And I pray that it collapses so that we get a better orientation. Why should SHIF fall? It should fall because the services which have been given by SHIF are totally bizarre. They are a joke. Unaweza ambiaje mtu eti your dental cover for a year is 935 bob. Kwani hiyo ni ya kununua toothpaste na brush ndio usugue meno? You know, it's just joke kabisa. How can you tell someone that your optical cover is 2,000 shillings? 2,000 shillings ya kufanya nini? Ya kununua kioo tujiangalilie. So everything in this SHIF is just created from mediocrity. And I'm sorry, I know there are people who are surrounding the president and the Ministry of Health. When I heard the CS answering and explaining herself about SHIF, it was just a joke. You listen to her, she's very clueless. People have to stand up and try to salvage her. Like totally rudderless. She does not know what she's defending. She says, oh, Safaricom, imekuja, Safaricom is part of the government parastatal. Like total shame. And some of these people in government should do their researches very well before they come to media and they tell us about stuff. Because we are the basic service provider. When a patient who's receiving dialysis misses dialysis, I'll not see that patient in the next 3 sessions. They'll be dead. You see, when a person who has come, last week I saw people who came for chemo in Chandaria being told to come back again. How much chance do you have for a patient who's receiving chemo mwenye tunatuma nyumbani angoje SHIF is stabilized? So there is another report we may never see, which will be happening in the depths of our village. People are going to die. Why? They're going to die because they can't get access to cover. And there's something that the government is really bragging about. It's bragging about the people who have gotten into SHIF. There is too much panic in around, which is cutting across. Many people relied on NHIF to receive their dialysis, to receive their chemotherapy, their antihypertensive. Many people have diabetes, and all these things were being run by an insurance company. So one morning, when government is saying we have closed door for NHIF, what happens next? Of course, people will go in a panic. Everybody will be running around to try and register so that they can still pick their drugs. Sadly, the government is looking at that, seeing like, oh, our people are very motivated to join this SHIF. No, people are not motivated. SHIF is not right for anybody. We have seen we are the first primary people on the ground, and I can tell our Kenyan citizens that SHIF does not work. One of the better things to show you that something is good is the simplicity of it. You don't need 1,000 paragraphs to explain how something is good. You just need to say, this thing is about your healthcare. Now, look at this. We're having 104 billion shillings, which is being set on just database. Are we even understanding what that is? Like we have three arms. We have a primary healthcare fund, emergency and chronic illness fund, and then the social health insurance fund. The primary healthcare fund and emergency and chronic illness funds are funded by the exchequer. Now, the 2.75% and the monies they are saying they are coming to interview our caps and radios and TVs are going to fund the social health insurance fund. Now, from this money, you're telling us that they are not even, you're not going to assign monies to this healthcare provision. You're going to assign most of those monies to create database. Hii database inaenda kusaidia nani? What is the use of you creating database for us, yet I'm still struggling and suffering? Why would you take 104 billion shillings to create database, yet you're running a healthcare funding system? So what is the essence of the name of healthcare funding system? Then just call it database funding system, and then part of the helps that we'll get in healthcare is part of the monies will go to healthcare. So we find this shifting very, very unnecessary right now. I know they have put a lot of politics which are superseding it, but I want to really encourage us to be very vigilant. Let us not allow this SHIF. If we allow SHIF to slide into this carpet and below our feet, we will go back to the days where we will be doing harambes. How can we have a document that says for you to be treated for prostate tumors or prostate-associated diseases, you must be 55 years and above? How do we have a document that separates cancer patients and removes youths who are susceptible also to receive to get tumors from the scope of management of tumors? So basically, my brother Eric, this document is very, very bad. And lastly, allow me just to speak, because we are in healthcare. We have our intern doctors who are away from work. There was a court process that was supposed to be finished last month. It was postponed to this month on 17th. Now, all intern doctors in this country are away from work on a strike. Who are the primary care, let alone intern doctors alone, intern doctors, clinical officers, nurses, all the interns of healthcare provision? Aren't these people the same persons who provide healthcare deliverables in the hospitals? Sasa sisi hapa tuko tuna madaktari, nurses, clinical officers who are doing internship. They are not even being paid, and the doctors, interns are away from work. And we have audacity to say we are rolling out a SHIF program, yet you can't even pay the interns. If you go to any local hospital in the county, 80% probability of the person who will do a cesarean section on you is an intern doctor. 90% probability of a person you will see treating you in casualty is an intern doctor. Intern doctors run 95% of health workmanship in this country. Right now, they are away from work. Serikali haitaki kuaddress hiyo mambo. It's forcing SHIF on people. Why are you jumping? So what is the interest? We know we have a businessman president where pali pesa iko hapo ndio anaweka. Wakati airport inaweza mpatia a few coins, analeta adani hapo. Sai Murkomen anataka kuuza viwanja za mpira kwa maana itampatia kitu. Health, it's just because he'll make some profit. But you see, juzi tulikuwa tunauziwa kokoto na mafiambuzi ndani just because it can give him something. But at whose expense? At what cost of the livelihoods of the people in this country? I think we just need to refresh ourselves, appear in the streets, refuse this SHIF and everything that is being brewed from a corrupt system. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Darwin, for that. And you've raised a very, very, very valid points. Kama kuna mtu hajasikia, kama kuna mtu haelewi, this one has come from the horse's mouth. The people who work at the hospital, the people who interact with those patients. So imeguja from the horse's mouth. So don't doubt, don't listen to politicians. And before I go, I want to bring Francis Ndionim release. But I want to tell you something. This country began going to the dogs in 2013. Unipatie tu dakika moja niwa explainie. Hope you listen to me. So in 2010 tulipitisha katiba mpya. 2010. Na katiba yetu ilitangazwa kuwa one of the best constitutions in the world. Because iko na chapter, I think it's chapter 12, yenye inaongea juu ya public finance management. So inamaanisha kama wewe ni public servant na umechukua pesa, you have to account for that money. So tuliandika a chapter ya constitution vile pesa taxes za Wakenya zinakuwa used. So in 2012, wabunge wakapitisha something called the Public Finance Management Act. Hiyo Public Finance Management Act, kuna kitu iliandika hapo, ikasema pesa yote ya Wakenya inaingia kwa kitu inaitwa Consolidated Fund. Na ika explain vile hiyo pesa inatolewa hapo, vile controller of budget ana authorize hiyo pesa vile itatumika, and then ikishatumika auditor general anarudi kuangalia vile hiyo pesa imetumika from the Consolidated Fund. Sasa these two twins, Mandugu Digital, wakaingia kwa power 2013. So wakati waliingia kwa power wakapata system zinafanya kazi. So wakajiuliza tutamake aje pesa. Kitu ya kwanza walifanya, they sent Kimani Ichung'wah to parliament. Kimani Ichung'wah was the chairman of the budget committee 2013. So 2014 waka amend that Public Finance Management Act, inaitwa Public Finance Management Act 2014. Imekuwa amended because several after that, but I'm on the 2014 one. Sasa hawa jamaa wakaongeza another clause chini ya Consolidated Fund ya kwamba the government can come up with a secret consolidated fund. So Uhuru na Ruto, ile pesa walikuwa na collect kwa nje, madeni, manini, ma Eurobond, ilikuwa inaingia kwa hiyo private consolidated fund. Na mimi as a Kenyan sijui who is the signatory behind that fund ama that consolidated fund. So now this is what they used to do. Nataka munisikie vizuri. So juu pesa imeingia kwa hiyo consolidated fund ya kisiri na hawataki kushikwa, they added another clause ya kusema pesa inaweza toka hapo na ilipe supplier wa direct. You get it? Imeshika mpaka hapo. So this private consolidated fund wanaweza ingia hapo bila ruhusa, watoe pesa, walipe direct to the supplier without involving the parliament. So now this is what these guys used to do. Wakitaka kutoa pesa hapo ndani, wanaenda wana identify project. Wanasema hii barabara ni 7 billion. So what they do, they look for a contractor. Wanaambia contractor, leta your BQs and everything. So contractor analeta. So contractor kishapeana hizo vitu, wanafuata tu sheria vizuri vile inatakikana, and then wanaenda wanatoa pesa. Wakitoa pesa wanaweka kwa account ya contractor. So contractor anaenda site, media inaitwa, Wakenya wanaitwa, red carpet inawekwa hapo, plaque inawekwa hapo, this road is being commissioned by the president, blah 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 blah. And then after that, 2 days later, they call the contractor. They tell the contractor, boss, wewe baki na 10%, turudishe hiyo pesa ingine. So contractor yeye anakaa kwa site 1 or 2 months, anachukula 10% yake, the 90% inaingia kwa mifuko za our jamaa. That's why unaona projects mingi zimekwama. That's why unaona watu kama Morara walikuwa wanaenda kwa different projects wakisema hii ilikwama lakini pesa ilikuwa allocated. Hii ilikwama lakini pesa ilikuwa allocated. Let me tell you something, Kenyans. Hakuna vile project inaweza kuwa commissioned na haijakuwa allocated pesa. There is nothing like pesa ya hiyo project iliisha. Pesa huwa inatolewa, inaallocatiwa, and then people pocket the money. That's how money has been withdrawn from this private consolidated fund. Na kama wabunge wetu wangekuwa watu wazuri, they would have raised a red flag on that private consolidated fund. Yenye pesa ya deni inaingia ndani, and then people withdraw that money in the pretext of funding or paying suppliers when wametengeneza barabara, wametengeneza dam. And that's why you'll see someone like Ruto ako kwa hii project leo, after 2 years ako kwa the same project, after 3 years ako kwa the same project, because these are called cash cows. Francis, mambo ya SHIF, and then I release you Wende.
Me, you know, I wanted to speak about SHIF, but me nikisikia the name Uhuru Kenyatta, I just start shaking. I'm shivering. I'm on the edge because I'm thinking we've cut this guy so much slack. This motherfucker must be in jail. Uhuru Kenyatta, he's fucked in the head, mother. Mama Ngina, the land grabber and poacher, they must be in jail. His brother Moho Kenyatta, J. Moturi, Jomo Geshaga, those guys should be in jail for crimes against humanity. If we are not going to burn their houses, the only other compromise is they should be in jail. Because these are guys who have looted, they have destroyed our futures, our collective destinies. I saw a lady talking about prophetic destiny of the country, the people who borrowed debt. You're hearing they have sub-consolidated funds domiciled in different countries. And we are here. I see some influencers there with no shame saying that Uhuru was better than Ruto. These guys are fucked in the head, all of them. And why would you be comparing Uhuru to Ruto? Uhuru right now, because of the amount of debt he has left this country, because of the amount of sabotage, deliberate sabotage. The other day I was talking about Alcoblo. It sounds small, but it's a significant thing. You're looking at, they erected Alcoblo on all the entry points in Nairobi because they were trying to manipulate. They wanted a CBD to fall, and they were doing it out of malice because they knew this person had property here, this person had property. So if we block access to CBD, then nobody will be going, and all these properties will collapse, and we can buy them at a throwaway price. So this motherfucker, this guy called Uhuru Kenyatta, we are cutting him so much slack. This guy should be in jail. He's a murderer. He's been charged, and I keep on telling you, Uhuru and Ruto were in the ICC. They were charged with the highest crime in the land, in Earth, in planet Earth. These are people who have no souls. These are dark bastards. And anytime, like now, I saw somebody saying that on Tuesday, we are supposed to be protesting, we are supposed to be occupying parliament because of this nonsense, this charade they are trying to engage us in. They are trying to distract our attention from Adani and all these fucking Muhindis. They are getting to do their funny deals. Adil Kawaja, chairman of Safaricom. Why aren't you boycotting Safaricom right now? Do you still have a Safaricom SIM card? You should have boycotted it by now. If Adil Kawaja is going to remain as a chairman, that's the guy who Nelson Amenya has been working so hard to expose together with Jayesh. These guys are the ones who want to capture our public health care. They want to turn it into their own cash cow. These fucking Muhindis. Are we here? Are we going to tolerate this bullshit? Is this a more era where we had Kamlesh Patni paraded over there pretending to be catwalking on the media? No, man. We have to show these guys that Kenya is our country. Kenya is Marwa. We cannot allow them. Adil Kawaja he's a fucking lawyer. How is he so embedded in our health sector? What business? Because Adil Kawaja is also a director at Nairobi West Hospital. What business do they have? What interest do they have in the mass mass murder of Kenyans because they want to kill us. This is genocide. This is premeditated. You understand? So when we are talking about people like Uhuru Kenyatta, because the rain didn't start beating us over here, the economy was booming. I did a tweet the other day. I was saying that I used to go to a local in 2011 where we were 30 of us and we used to be friends, and then people just started falling one by one. Your company has shut down, you've been retrenched, you've been everything. And by 2019, nobody had a single job. Why? Because of this bastard, this clusterfuck called Uhuru Kenyatta. Uhuru Kenyatta is a demonic son of a bitch who you should not even be mentioning in any of your tweets. Influencers we have in Kenya are so full of shit, man. Why would you even compose? How do you get the strength to concoct a tweet that Uhuru was okay? Do you know Uhuru has taken Kenya back 30 years? Uhuru Kenyatta himself, together with his fucked up family. We should be going to ban their properties. We should not the one that was instigated by Rigathi, where he was going to steal livestock in Sukari Ranch. No, this should be now intentional. It should be deliberate. We are saying we are going to reclaim the money that Uhuru has stolen, because we are talking about 10 trillion shillings. We are talking about $100 million. Yeah, or $100 billion. That's what we are talking about. This guy, and he's still living amongst us. He's still breathing. He's still breathing the same way we are breathing. No. So we are talking about SHIF. We are talking about the Ministry of Health. What the fuck is the Ministry of Health trying to do? You should be in the streets. I've just listened to Wanjiro's presentation talking about her father. Her father is saying the father was getting 9,500 treatment every other time they go for dialysis. Now suddenly they're being told to pay upfront 11,500. You're listening to that idiot, that asshole called Moses Kuria. Moses Kuria is the biggest asshole north of Limpopo, south of the Sahara. I've never seen such a fucked up guy in my life. He comes there, he's telling you about health. Which health degree does he possess? Has he ever worked in a hospital? Is he an investor in hospital? No. And you're listening to him telling you about health, and the media is platforming. That's why we don't listen to these very media bastards, because they are full of shit. How do you give somebody who's not even a medical professional, health professional? We have professionals, there's no shortage. We already have these guys who are talking on this platform over here. They are telling us the weaknesses, the flaws with this SHIF, and we are here entertaining Moses Kuria, telling us how an overhauled system which was working, now they are going to replace it with another one that isn't working, and you're there giving him airtime. You should be in the streets, you useless bastards. You shouldn't be listening to Moses Kuria. I get pissed off. I don't understand how you lack the mental tools to just analyze, to just look at this bastard, to just say this is bullshit, to just go in the streets and stay there. You're not going to the streets to be told to leave in the evening by Boniface Mwangi after he's been paid by the Ministry of Interior. No, you're going there to stay there until one thing happens, until the MPs leave, until they vacate, until they're not just vacating, not just running away in the tunnels. They should be made to stand there and forced to apologize to Kenyans for wasting our time, for serving vested interests. The next time that we are doing the maandamano, it has to be intentional. There has to be an objective. You're not going there to take selfies. You are there going to take selfies. You're there for vibes and inshallah. What are you doing, vibes and inshallah? You know very well that Safaricom is the one which pinged the locations of everyone who was in parliament. And all of them were picked up by the police, by the DCI one by one. And most of them went to be murdered. You know very well that happened. So why are you still having a Safaricom SIM card by now? Why are you still using that network? Amerix right now was telling me he was trying to use Safaricom, and it was, for some weird reason, the people who are trying to log in through Safaricom, they cannot get into this space. Why are you using a network that is deliberately structured to censor you, to censor your voice? You should have left a long time ago. This is basic and common knowledge. Why are you disregarding it? Because these are the guys who gave the locations to everyone who was picked up by the police. So it's not business as usual. I'm saying this beyond our collective interest, beyond our collective objectives. There has to be some element of personal responsibility. How do you still have a Safaricom SIM card till now? You guys take a lot of things for granted. You guys take a lot of things as a joke. You don't understand that Adil Kawaja is the chairman of Safaricom. He is bound because of the funny deals that he's doing with Ruto to continue giving location to the activists, locations of the activists, of the lawyers. They know where you are at any one time. They can come and pick you up any one time. So your first step into the age and into the realm of enlightenment is drop your Safaricom SIM card. It's as simple as that. Drop your Safaricom Wi-Fi's. Drop them immediately. And if we move collectively, we just need 10,000 of us to drop them. And then we have strength, and then we go growing. Yeah, and if you hear somebody saying occupy parliament on Tuesday, be there, because this whole Gachagua nonsense is a charade, is a nonsense. They are distracting us from the can we say industrial scale looting that they are embarking on, because these guys, I told you, they are not creative in their thuggery. Then they just want to sit down and say Twibe, and so they get clusterfucks and idiots and assholes like Moses Kuria. Moses Kuria comes there and tells you about health. Why would you be listening about health issues to Moses Kuria, to obese buffoon called David D? Why would you be listening to them telling you about health? You should only be listening to issues relating to health from health experts. And they've already raised the red flag. They've already told you that this SHIF is a scam. This SHIF is a what? What is left to do? The courts have already pronounced themselves. These guys are going against the court orders. So what's next to do? You should be going to the streets like your life dependent on it. Like this is a matter of life and death. You should be there on Tuesday, not to go and support Gachagua, and he's also another asshole. He's also another useless old bastard who has not done anything and now claiming that he wants our sympathy. But you should be there because of SHIF, because you have listened to that story. It is very powerful that now we are going to have no less than 60,000 people who are dependent on dialysis. They are not going to get that service because the Ministry of Health, because Moses Kuria, because this fucking Muhindi is called Adil Kawaja and Jayesh, they want to steal money and take it to offshore accounts in Dubai. No, we cannot allow them. We have to tell them that this is not the Moi era. We have to make it clear to them that they are dealing with a new generation. This is not the generation of our parents who used to understand and they are told everything and then they agree. No. That's what happened in the 90s. And I told you when they had when they started mortgaging our parastatals, it was smooth. It was easy. They started glamorizing it. They started calling it the golden handshake. Yeah, they used to call them the SAPs, the structural adjustment programs by World Bank. They used to glamorize them. And then you're told, take the handshake. We are selling these parastatals. The parastatals that were being sold, which were profitable, which were stable. Kenya Airways was stable. It was sold under the guise of privatization, just like they are trying to do with our public health sector. It was sold in 2004 to KLM, which was a privatization where people were hiding behind there so that they can steal the company. But has Kenya Airways become better because of privatization? No. In fact, ever since it was privatized in 1994, ever since it was privatized, it has costed the taxpayers no less than 100 billion. And yet they were touting, they were floating the privatization as a quick fix panacea, which is what these fucking Muindis are doing with SHIF. They are telling you that now you concede what has been serving you for the last 30 years. And then they are telling you, no, now we have a new system. And then they bring digitization and technology. No, we have to move from there. That's how you guys were roped in Huduma number. I need to understand how you guys, once you hear a government press release, once you see it there immediately, you fall in line. You're told, you're just there. That's how you guys got injected with poison under the guise of COVID, because you are listening to I don't know what. You're told Matiang'i used to come there and then he bangs the table and then you say Matiang'i is a performer just because he bangs the table. You guys have to reevaluate the values that you take seriously. A significant, or can we say a government or a civil servant who is working hard. He's not working hard because he's appearing on TV banging tables. I've been seeing you guys getting excited by a Nairobi County government employee who is just going around pretending that he's closing clubs because of noise. Those are not the components which you're used to evaluate if a civil servant is working. It's the numbers. We want to see how much did you make, how much did you save, how much did you do. As you're hearing, there was a secret consolidated fund launched by Uhuru Kenyatta, done by Kimani Ichung'wah. Kimani Ichung'wah is one because he was the chairman of the budget committee. They did that. And we are allowing these people to lecture you. You go for Harambee, they lecture you. You should be pelting them with stones. You should be burning their vehicles. That's the anger that should be brewing inside you. Not there. You're telling me that I'm speaking shit. That is your work to be policing language? Have I stolen any of your money? Have I stolen any of your taxes? You should be channeling that anger, not to strangers on the internet, to the idiots that you elected, you killed there. You assholes. No, shame. You go and queue there regarding Ruto, and then you tick right. And then you still want us to clear the mess. You want us to clean up the dirt that you created. At least you have to respect us. If you won't respect yourselves, you're going to respect the people who are giving their lives out here, who are spending every day just fighting for your rights. And you, if you're there, you're just busting your ass, just waiting for somebody else to work on your behalf. No, you will have to respect us from today. And we are not begging. Those guys who are talking shit, those idiots, like a guy like Kilundizi, Sam Otero, you're talking shit there. You will respect us because you won't be creating problems and then you wait for other people to come and clean them for you. No. We are beyond that. And so before, as I close down, I'm telling you, the only solution that is remaining right now, we have spoken. Everyone has seen that this SHIF is a scam. Everyone has seen that Adil Kawaja, the chairman of Safaricom, wants to hijack our public health sector so that it can be in his pocket. And you are there. You are still using a Safaricom SIM card. In the list, you're going to stop using Safaricom from today, from tomorrow. That's the list that you are going to do. And then now we move forward. What's next? Are we going to the streets? Are we going to what? Are we going to court? Because these guys are not ready to back down. If they're not ready to back down, then what will you do? Are you going to wait there until your kin, until your loved one gets to go to hospital and then they're turned away and then they are having a life-threatening or terminal illness, life-threatening terminal illness? Are you going to wait until that day? No, we have to move fast. You have to think about, once you hear about an issue like that one that Wanjiru has elaborated, once you hear it, don't think that it is Wanjiru's issue. Just know that you're next. You're just in line. It's just your time hasn't come. So are you going to move now or are you going to wait? The thing is, now we need to start mobilizing. And don't wait for conmen. Don't wait for fraudsters. Don't wait for frauds to be telling you, to be triggering you on when to mobilize. For instance, I've just seen a video. There was a quiver in Mombasa Road. Guys were there. They were shouting, Ruto must go, Ruto must go. The next, because they've been kicked out under a fake fire drill. Why were you waiting, Ruto must go? You should have immediately there, you gathered all of you and marched to State House, marched to Parliament, marched anywhere. Why were you waiting? Why were you going home? You're going home to do what? Or you're going to look for another club. The moment you find an incident of injustice, an incident where your rights and freedoms have been infringed on, that's where you moved. Stop being told that you wait for Tuesday. That's what Boniface Mwangi did to you. That's how he killed the momentum of the revolution, because he's on the payroll of the Ministry of Interior. No, you don't wait. You act there immediately. Immediately you see something. If you're in Bypass, if you're in where, if you're in Githurai, you see something, you march immediately. Stop waiting for Tuesday. Stop being told that you wait for Thursday. No, march immediately. You piss me off. Those idiots who are in Quiver Mombasa Road, you're a bunch of stupid idiots. You should have started marching there. If you've been kicked out from a club and you were there enjoying your own money, and then some idiot just comes and tells you you have to leave. No, you should have marched there. You should have done more. You have to be proactive, you useless bastards. You have so much money. You can drink, you can take your hood rats out, you can spend all the money you want on your hood rats, but when it comes to rising to the occasion, when it comes to fighting for your rights, you have families. You will keep on paying black tax. When? For how long will you continue paying black tax? Just because people are stealing your money. Secondly, we have the locations of these MPs. We have the locations. We know where they live. We know their assets. We know where they take their children to school. We even know where their side chicks live. Why aren't you rising to the occasion? Do what's required for you. I don't need to stipulate it here. I don't need to elaborate it here. You need to do what is required for you. Now it's not about waiting for Boniface Mwangi. Now it's not about waiting for Hanifa. Hanifa now is selling buibus in Italy with your money. It's not about that. It's now about what will I do? Will I be part of the solution? And if you're not ready to be part of the solution, then go to hell. You piss me off, man. When I think about you guys, I feel angry. Anyway, thank you, Amerix.
Okay. NHIF was started in 1966. 1966. This thing has undergone transformation yearly upon year, improving it, fine-tuning it, and it was not mandatory. It was a fund. This SHIF thing is an authority, SHA. So they have the authority to deduct money from you and you will not question it. but you don't see this. NHIF was a fund where Kenyans collect money and put in a fund, then this money is distributed. But this one is an authority, just like Kenya Revenue Authority. It has the authority to deduct money from you without you questioning. We either refuse or accept. We can have a break. Brian Silways, you can give us a breather as I allow Francis to leave.
Thank you so much, Amerix. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you. Maybe Bravin and Cyprian.
Thank you. Thank you. So, my name is Brian Silways. I'm an urban spoken word artist from Nakuru, and here is my submission. Sidai kufit any shoe, mina dai to converse. Time you're having a serious convo debate ni ya nani international, nani local. Anyway, kwa hii story niko mstari wa mbele like Avangi logo. Ambia the current, he's the next former. Impact ya full stop worthy compare just comma. Blow unto blogger. Deal breaker haitaji broker. Ambia tumechoka. I stand with our fallen soldiers mulikalia viti, but again you still don't sit well so far. Ata fala kwe blind the moment ako in power, you'll get that fallacy. International mindset serving locally. Every evening and morning, you empty heads with guns competing to fill city mortuary. At a time kuna video, they still want to shoot me. So ambia my nephew, better I die on my feet than live on my knees. Si hata mwenye alisema serikali ni ya shareholder mebaki lonely without company. But si tuko busy allowing our comrade to rest in peace. So story go, story come. So I found a with or without uniform sare kujudge my youth hata kama wame dress to kill. These looks are deceiving. People can't be dying because you want to earn a living. Na kijana pesa ya pombe isifanye unyonge watu juu ya kuwaibia. Nimerepi word kuliko MCA wako juu maneno ya ubakaji, staki kusikia Northeastern Sea Camel pekee. Hata watu wanaangamia. Free education sasa ndio imekuwa bure kabisa. In a monthly period hedhi inazuia wa girls kuelimika. Tunaambia serikali hatuna kazi, alafu serikali inatuuliza tushaisoma Bible ukakosa job. Isa, in a monthly period hedhi inazuia wa girls kuelimika. Tunaambia serikali hatuna kazi, alafu inatuuliza tushaisoma Bible ukakosa job wewe. So nitasisitiza a way to say no to stress, depression na ina form. Itakukosesha usingizi kwa hiyo mattress. Landlord wana plot na ma-agent vile wata make my night sleepless. Landlord wana plot na ma-agent vile wata make my night sleepless. Extra pressure. Nikipata padlock extra kwa mlango. Elimu ni ufunguo wa maisha lakini si wa mlango. So hapo kwako education keys ni useless. Hata uwe most spice uwe useless. Whether in the past or present, relax tense. Don't stay wondering what to do. Stay hydrated. Because water is source of life, but life is not source of water. Weomba kazi na wasko pia ukate maji lakini usikate kakwota. Na kabla ulewe chakari, ulihepa aje option ya soda. So karibu kwa hii generation. Hii si ile generation ya kina grandpa. Kwa hii generation babuwa kupeana that stick kwa mjuku wake, excuse me, jameiva kuliko nyanya. Now you know why kwa hii generation hatuna vituku. Kwa hii generation tuko tu na vituko. Kwa hii generation Fatma heri Muslim. Juu wengine in the name of kula kukunywa, don't be surprised wakileta cut as their daily bread. Amwezi observe the holy month of Ramadan because at the end of the day you still afford to have debts. Na sisi as a country tushakam clean, tunapenda content chafu zikitrend, wasanii wanaturn to be politician ndo watutumia after kushindwa kutumia beat. Na ikifika ni time ya face the music, wako na guts za kutushow wait a bit, Mastudo ameturn to be the best teacher vile wako experience na hizi vitu. Wengine na skills za kutoa mimba wa juu walitoa wapi hiyo usiku? Jigas ndo wameshindwa kutoa despite kuwafunza kwa hizo miguu. So we kuwa na subira juu uliacha kuvuta heri, siku hizi unavuta za juja. Excuse me, ati they make you feel super high, nika ujui the way to heaven, IPT Thika. So kwa hii generation, nimekuja hata Nairobi nikarealize ma content creator want any content kuhusu whatever we are talking about. My name is Brian Silways. I'm an urban spoken word artist kutoka Nakuru. I do spoken word in matatus with Willie Oeba. I do spoken word in streets at where people are gathering. That's what I do. So you can call me for events. And I've just released my album. It's called Avangi album. It has amazing tracks, the spoken words, the revolution about social justice, just defending democracy. And it goes 500 shillings only. And on 12th of December, we shall be having a live event with my brother Willie Oeba. So make sure you come through. You come through and you can get ticket through his bio. Thank you so much, Amerix, and let's keep on fighting for democracy.
Yeah, thank you very much, Brian. For those who are listening, I really like artists because I'm also an artist. Artists use their talent to push for civic education and to push for public discourse. That's why I give artists an opportunity to talk to us, poems, songs, spoken words, drama, anything that can build our public discourse, make us laugh at ourselves using sarcasm, using imagery, using symbolism, and all devices of literature. Because literature is what makes us think deep about ourselves. I was looking for Mwalimu Professor Njoya, my teacher. I don't know where she is. She has very good insight concerning this SHA. I don't know if Cyprian can get her or Bravin, but we had talked. She called me in the morning and she wanted to be part of this discussion. She's very, very solid. She has very good points when it comes to our spiritual, our collective spirituality as a nation. So Nelson, I want you to finish so that you can break. What is the connection between Adani, SHIF, SHA, and all these madness?
Thank you, Amerix. So, this issue is so big. I don't know if people comprehend the magnitude of what is happening today in Kenya. It looks every day when I speak about it, people have been telling me, oh, you're jealous of Morara because you're saying he's taking all the attention. People are so stupid that they think when I say you're losing focus, it's because I want to be the focus of attention. By the way, let me tell you, I'm doing an MBA, I'm in a business school, and I would rather be looking for a job or be looking for ways to secure my future rather than speaking on X. And I wasn't that active until I decided, to come and speak out and try and help my country. So it's not about cloud chasing, as many people think, because I have a better personal life. Anyway, so this issue is of a huge magnitude. Adani Group, first of all, you all know Adani, how big it is. Adani last year, they bought a port in Israel, the Haifa port. Adani bought this port. Adani bought the port in Dar es Salaam. They have also bought in Bangladesh, in Sri Lanka. So Adani is really huge, and they're being funded by BlackRock. For those who are aware, BlackRock owns almost all companies in the world. So BlackRock is really, really huge. And Adani is connected to the Prime Minister of Abu Dhabi, the royal family of UAE. So Adani is connected to them. And you all know how UAE, these Arabs, they have so much money. They have something called the sovereign wealth funds. And the sovereign wealth funds of these Arab countries are in the $1 trillion. They have so much money. They're just looking for ways to spend this money. And they have discovered that investing this money in Africa is the best way to get a return on their investments. And one of the ways they're doing it is by using proxies like Adani, proxies like Jayesh, NMC. There is a clinic called NMC. NMC, there is Amerix. Is that you? Amerix? There's a noise. Anyway, there is a health facility in Kenya called NMC. This NMC Fertility Center is owned by Adil Kawaja and owned also by Jayesh. NMC is a subsidiary of another company in Dubai, in UAE, called NMC Healthcare. NMC Healthcare was involved in a $4.6 billion scandal in the UAE, and it was run by some Indian called B.R. Shetty. B.R. Shetty was a billionaire Indian in the UAE. Same thing, he was doing the same thing that Jayesh and Adil Kawaja are doing in Kenya today. And he was involved in a 4.6 billion scandal. He had to run away to India and he's never gone back to the UAE. The same people he was working with in the UAE, the same people in the royal family. There's one guy who is the national security advisor of the UAE, and he's also the prime minister of Abu Dhabi. So you know how the Emiratis, they operate. So these people, the same way they were funding NMC is now the same way they are trying to fund Kina Jayesh, Kina Adani to come and take over the market in Kenya. They're taking over the healthcare industry. I mean, it's crazy. And if you want to see the big impact that is happening at the moment, someone came and said Moi Teaching and Referral, NHIF owes them, I don't know, 2.6 billion. But Nairobi West, Bliss, all these clinics that are owned by Jayesh, all of them, they don't have any debts with NHIF. They have been paid 100%, and it's in the billions of shillings. And all this money does not even stay in Kenya. It's transferred to these tax havens abroad. So you can see how they are operating. They are siphoning money from NHIF. They used to siphon money from NHIF through the teachers' insurance, through the police insurance, and then they starve the private hospitals. So they will. This is witness accounts that I'm giving you. They would tell private hospitals not to admit people for more than 3 days. It doesn't matter what you're being admitted for, but you cannot be admitted for more than 3 days. And if this private clinic refuses to do this, they're told, okay, take them to Bliss or take them to Nairobi West. And when they take them to Nairobi West, the first order of business is to make sure that they deplete their insurance. And that is an instruction that they give all their employees. And then something else they do with the private clinics, all private clinics in Kenya have to give them 10% discount. So if you are going to make a claim to Makil, you have to give them 10% discount or 15% discount. I've seen screenshots. The least you can give is 5% discount for you to be able to be paid. So, and these private hospitals, it's not a guarantee you will be paid. Sometimes the claim will be rejected, and it will be rejected after you have treated the patient and discharged the patient. Can you imagine? And when you're going to claim your money, it's declined and there's nothing you can do. Another malpractice that Jayesh and this cabal are doing today is that they have companies in India. So these companies in India are the ones that are approving and rejecting the claims. So meaning our patient data in Kenya is being sent to India, which is illegal, in fact, because patient data should not leave the jurisdiction of Kenya. It should only remain in Kenya. It should never go outside of Kenya. But this Nairobi West, Bliss, Medicross, all these clinics, there's so many there, over, I think, 100 clinics. And all of them are working with Indian companies to approve these claims. And so someone was telling me that any claim that comes from Nairobi West Hospital, Bliss Healthcare, Medicross Healthcare is expressly approved. They don't even look to see if it's a genuine case or not. But any claim that comes from any private hospital, they have to look at it, and any slight mistake, it's rejected. They don't even care if it's a genuine one or not, they will reject it. And some of them are even saying that they are given a target. You have to reject 4 out of every 10 claims. It doesn't matter if the 10 claims are all genuine. You have to reject 4 of them. So you have to reject, over very stupid claims just to meet your quota of 4 out of 10, which is absolutely crazy. And this, this thing is making these people billionaires, because all the money from NHIF, all the money from the insurance of teachers and police is basically going 100% to Jayesh and his cabal. And the private hospitals are closing down. Nairobi Women's Hospital has refused to treat anyone who comes with NHIF. And I know so many others have been sent the list who have refused to treat any patients coming in with NHIF and now coming in with SHIF. They're not treating anyone because they know they will not be paid. But if you go to Nairobi West, you will be treated and they will be paid. It's absolutely unfair. And it's so sad that Hanifa was sending people away from NHIF, from Kenyatta National Hospital to Nairobi West Hospital, and they were pretending to offer a very good service, but in the real sense, they're just unscrupulous business people. They just want, and they were also. I was being told, from some insiders in Nairobi West that they were, how do you say, to increase the cost? They were inflating the bills of these victims. So it's very sad. And what is happening in Kenya is actually a premeditated genocide that is going to happen in Kenya unless we stop it. And the only way to stop this madness is by going to the streets and by going to parliament. And basically we have to go and make parliament fall, because it's the MPs. MPs are the ones who are supposed to help us. MPs are the ones who are supposed to stop all this nonsense from happening. But the MPs are not stopping anything. The MPs are being paid small money. These unscrupulous business people are getting away with billions of shillings and billions of dollars, while the MPs are being paid peanuts, 1,500,000, to pass these policies that are making it possible for people like Jayesh to take over the healthcare system in Kenya. It's absolutely sad. And there is so much that is happening. They're bringing Indians from India. You will find some clinics, some bliss clinics in very remote areas, but being run by Indians from India. And all this money that are being paid is basically going back to India. So all the billions that are going to be collected by SHIF or SHA or whatever are basically going to end up outside of Kenya. They're not even going to help any Kenyan. They're going to end up outside of Kenya. You have seen, I named one company called Star Insurance. Star Insurance is owned 100% by companies that are registered in Hong Kong. And this Star Insurance is part of the companies that are going to be running the insurance of SHIF. So it means that every money that is going to go to Star is basically going to be taken offshore. It's going to be sent to Hong Kong. This means that in the next maybe 10 years, billions of shillings will be taken out of Kenya. We are basically going the way Zimbabwe went. We are going the way Uganda is going. And in a few years, maybe Uganda will even pass Kenya. Tanzania will also pass Kenya. Unless we stop all this madness, we are going down the drain. It's not looking good, guys. So thank you, Amerix, and I hope people, start seeing the magnitude of what is happening in Kenya and stop and stop to focus on stupid things like the impeachment of Rigathi Gachagua, things that don't even matter. We don't care even if they impeach these guys. This is none of our business. But we need to stand on our business, and our business is to stop these people from state capture, from taking over our country. Indians are taking over our country. Right now, if Ruto is not employing a Kalenjin, he's cutting unscrupulous deals with an Indian. It's crazy. It's madness. So thank you so much, Amerix. Over to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Nelson. We really appreciate your commitment and your fight for Kenya. You're a patriot. We stand with you, of course. We know the petition, or you've been sued, you've been threatened with death, your family has been threatened. We understand your passion for our country. So if anyone talks shit about you, of course, they don't understand what you're going through right now. Because I know every weekend you don't live in France, you run away to other countries to cover. The other time you told me that there are some people who are sent to track you in your university. The good thing is that your university has security that does not allow anyone to come and ask for you. And you had to take cover, you had to flee to another country, which I don't want to mention. So anyone who says that you are looking for attention does not understand how you've risked your life, not just your life, even the lives of your family and the directors of your other companies in Kenya. So we support you. We stand with you. I know my followers are following you. They support you, and we will continue standing with you and playing our part to ensure that we get our country back on track. Thank you very much, Nelson. I also want to mention that.
Sorry, I forgot something. By the way, my case is coming up this October in court, and we are looking to see if we can stream it on X so that everybody can watch it. But it's public, so anyone can go to court and actually watch the proceedings. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nelson. We appreciate. So I have issues with, of course, you've seen issues with network. People have been talking about it everywhere, lack of electricity and things like those. But we continue. So I want to welcome Wanjiru to make a final submission on her thought and what Kenyans can do to reclaim their country back, because right now Kenya is at a very, very bad state. Very, very bad state, honestly. Wanjiru.
Hi, am I audible?
Yeah, go on.
Thank you so much, Amerix. And Nelson, you need your flowers. I have been watching what you have been doing for Kenya. You truly are a patriot. We would never have known about our airport if you had not leaked it and been persistent about calling for attention. Get your flowers. Please be safe. It is a civic duty that you've obviously taken very seriously. So for me, I just also say that everybody has a civic duty. And a war is a series of battles that can be fought through any place, whether it's in the air, it's in the offices, it's in the streets, it's in the ocean. It's got to be fought by everybody. So those of you who can go to the streets, please, I do believe in going to the streets. However, some of us can't also run around with the police, but we can also put our intellect to play and our skills. So together with a few Kenyans, we are developing a project called Taifa Mpya, and we are uniting to reimagine the Kenya that we want and to deliver, to help midwife, to just add to everything that everybody is doing to midwife this new country. And we must be deliberate about reimagining it. We can't always be reactive. We have to be proactive. So this project is actually a cumulative effort from my PhD proposal. I've been doing something, I'm a lawyer by training, but I'm doing my PhD now in the evolution of the youth influence on the evolution of governance in Africa. And when these Gen Z's protests started, I decided to pay a lot of close attention to what was going on and how it evolved and how it got scuttled and the kind of effects and the impact that it had. So for me, protest does absolutely produce results, and it is serious protest. So this project called Taifa Mpya, it's got 5 main projects. Number 1, Safe Pro. For those of you who don't know me, I do live in South Africa and I've lived here for many years. I'm not proud of being an economic refugee. I left because of Moi. 30 years ago, I came here with a one-way ticket. And now I'm looking and saying, I don't want my kids to not live in Kenya anymore because they're not connected to the country. So this project has 5 main deliverables. We want to protect the protest. I do want the protest to be safe. I have worked a lot in South Africa. I've understood how the ANC and the Umkhonto we Sizwe actually protested so that by creating cells of protest at grassroots level to make it completely impossible for the apartheid government to come and scuttle it. So SafePro is about protecting the protest, but making sure that it goes to grassroots level and to create a lot of chaos that cannot be managed with the government resources of force. Second one is civic education, which we're calling Ujuzi wa Raia. Civic education is what you're doing, Eric. Cyprian, that's what you do. Nelson, everybody who is doing poetry, and I love the arts as well. All that is civic education, but civic education needs to also go to the grassroots level. It needs to be delivered in very simple language that can be understood, because the real problem is actually not the people on X. The people who are the problem, who don't understand the consequences of the power of their ballot, are the people at grassroots level. And those are the ones that Gaido has been talking about. They're the people of Mwizi Wangu versus Mwizi Wako. So civic education, Ujuzi wa Raia, is a project that will go on grassroots level, at ward level, and deliver civic education in partnership with all the other organizations that are doing this amazing work. Third project, Mulika Ufisadi. A lot of people are doing this. Nelson, you Mulika Ufisadi, thank you very much. We also have Boni, who is Mulika Ufisadi. We've got Morara. But what are we going to do about these crimes against Kenya? You can Mulika Ufisadi, but the law of Kenya allows us to prosecute these crimes as private citizens. So you can Mulika Ufisadi, collect the evidence, and bring it together, and we prosecute these crimes against Kenya as citizens. The fourth one is Legislative Watch of Kenya. We all know that Parliament is our weakest link. That is where the problems begin. They pass legislation without us knowing. They're sneaked in, and before we know it, we've got silly laws that are being passed because we don't have a watchdog that's consistently watching Parliament to look at what they are talking about and to start raising the red flags very early, so that we don't find ourselves flat-footed again. And of course, there are many unconstitutional laws that have been going through, that have been passed. And yes, you're right. This started actually way, way back. It did not start with Ruto. Those laws need to be challenged, and their constitutionalism challenged by us, the people. The fifth project is called LIFT, which stands for Leadership for Inclusion and Transformation. I do believe that we need a critical mass of young people, young, youthful people to come out. We can't wait only for Morara and Casmuel and all those people, and then they get compromised. We need to be deliberate about unearthing these young leaders, mentoring them, which I see you do, Eric, a lot, mentoring them, making sure that we raise them so we can create a pipeline of leaders who actually represent the vision and the values of the Kenya, so that they can take ownership. We need to clean the swamp, but we cannot clean the swamp when we have the same jubilees going for elections. The same old parties, it's just new wine in old wine in new bottles. So we must be very deliberate about finding these new young leaders and giving them a platform to come out. Now, my appeal to everybody in this space, we need skill. I do believe, I'm still a business person, and I still believe in building sustainable organizations. But at the very beginning, I do need skill. And I do have about 10 Kenyans in this group who are already helping me with this project. And we need skills to midwife this organization on a voluntary basis. We need people in communications. We need lawyers. We need NGO builders. We need grant writers, because at the end of the day, for you to have a sustainable movement, you do need funds. I don't want to go and do a harambe, but there are ways and means of raising funds for all places. But we do need grant writers and expertise to just bring this vision together and figure out how to build a sustainable organization, because it's going to be expensive to deliver this. So people, if you do want to volunteer in Taifa, we need PR people, we need digital agencies, we need grant writers, we need NGO builders, we need all this to help us midwife this organization. Please, it's only 2 hours of civic duty, 3 hours of civic duty. If we can all do it, I promise you we will deliver this country. For those who can go to the streets and run against the police, please do it. I can't, and I'm not the Gen X that Gaido was talking about. There are those of us who actually believe that we have been in the wrong trajectory. Actually, the rain started beating us. Actually, not even in 1963. 1963 was not independence. We are in the fourth cycle of colonization, of extraction. And unless we are clear about resisting this, yes, we will end up like Zimbabwe. My neighbor, I watched it. I watched how they got the country, and all the students who are at the University of Cape Town with me had to leave because their currency crashed. We're going to become like another Nigeria, where it is a gangster economy. And we have the ability, we've got the skills, we've got the ability to do this as Kenyans. Please, whatever you do, find an organization, volunteer your services so that we can help rescue this country. Thank you very much, Eric.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Cyprian and the audience and all of you guys who are doing this amazing work. You're not alone. We are many. Even in diaspora, tuko macho.
Asante sana. Thank you very much. I really appreciate. At this time, I want to leave the hosting to Cyprian and Bravin because my network has issues. But I just want to tell you, Kenyans, what I had said earlier. You need to know the difference between country, nation, and state. Once you understand these three, you will know why we are in shit. Then you also need to understand your MP. We said here that MP ni mjumbe. Kazi yake ni kupeleka ujumbe bungeni. When I was growing up and I was listening to VOK, they used to call them wajumbe. So kazi yake ni kuchukua ujumbe kwa constituency na kupeleka kwa bunge. So nyinyi mnampatia ujumbe. He is a messenger. His work is to take your message to the soul of the nation. The soul of the nation ni parliament. So mbunge asipopeleka ujumbe wako, like this thing they are doing, this useless thing called impeachment. You see, impeachment or public participation has to be done at the constituency level. Kwa hivyo, kila constituency ndio inafaa isikize. Ndio huyo mbunge aende kwa bunge aseme, nimesikiza watu wangu na wamesema, hii impeachment si ya maana. They want good health, they want good education, they want water, they want money in their pockets, and they want a country that works for them. But as we stand today, these people, wameharibu education, CBC, wameharibu university with this thing called funding model. Wameharibu TVET, they have another model there. Ndio hawa wanaharibu health. Ndio hawa wameharibu finance. Ni nini hawa watu hawajaribu? Ndio hawa wanaharibu agriculture. You are not seeing how big the mess is. Saizi hamwezi elewa. Lakini in the next 2 years ndio mtaelewa. So msipotake action saa hii, tusipotake action leo, we are going to suffer as a nation. Na mimi nawaambia ukweli, si wadanganyi, we are going to have it rough. And I want to talk to millennials. Mimi ni millennial. I am not a Gen Z. Lakini shida tuko nazo as a country and a nation ni kwa sababu ya millennials. This group of people, they see no evil, they do nothing. Kazi yao ni kwenda kanisa na kusema Mungu ametupatia candidate. We are in this mess because of millennials. The boomers have destroyed this country. The people who are supposed to come in and rescue our country from the destruction ni millennials. That includes me. But what have millennials done in this country? Hawajafanya kitu. Because the people who fought for the second liberation were the boomers. Kina Orengo, kina Raila. What have these millennials done? The only thing millennials wamefanya ni kwenda kupiga kura ya new constitution. The new constitution agitation was not even started by millennials. So we are in this pain because of millennials. They are docile, they are lazy. Kazi yao tu ni kufikiria vile wataingia kwa serikali, pia wakwe matajiri waendeshe Prado. That is their problem. Their interest ni kupata kazi kwa serikali so that pia wapate pesa, waibe. The millennials of this country have let us down. And I'm speaking as a millennial. We have let down this country. That when Gen Zs are going on the streets, sisi tunakaa kuangalia TV tukisema, hawa Gen Zs wanaharibu Kenya, hawa Gen Zs wanaharibu amani. Yet our country is being destroyed. Our country is being destroyed, decimated, block by block, block by block. Mbona hawa millennials hawaoni our country is in a mess? Na watu ambao wako na shida sana hii Kenya ni millennials. Go to the hospital today. 70% of the people who are sick are millennials. Hao ndio wako na diabetes, hao ndio wako na hypertension, hao ndio wako na arthritis, hao ndio wamepata ajali kwa barabara. Watu ambao wamejaa kwa hospitali sasa hivi ni millennials. Na kama wewe si mgonjwa na wewe ni millennial, your father, your mother is in hospital, ni mgonjwa. Millennial wewe ndio unategemewa pale nyumbani because your sibling who is a Gen Z amemaliza university, hana kazi, anakutegemea wewe. Wewe ndio unalipa black tax. Wewe ndio unasuffer as a millennial. The people who are suffering are millennials. Na wewe kama millennial unakaa hapo ukifikiria ya kwamba you will live a good life, you have a salary, you forget that that salary can be taken away from you anytime. Listen to me, millennials, tafadhali. The probability of you dying poorer than your parent is very high. At least your parent alikuwa na pesa alisave NSSF. Wewe una save pesa wapi? Where are you saving your money? At least as a millennial, you can go to Nairobi NSSF and say, my father worked for this government department na aliacha pesa, unipe. Lakini wewe as a millennial, when you will retire, utakuwa na nini? You will die poorer. You will suffer more than your parent. Na badala ya millennials kuamka na kushikana na kusema enough is enough, they are the people who are enabling all this plunder. Ukienda kanisa, watu wanapiga makofi wengi ni millennials. Ukienda kwa mkutano, watu wenye wanapigia politicians makofi ni millennials. Ukiingia hapa X, watu ambao wanasupport hao politicians ni millennials. Ukienda kwa mitandao, watu wenye wanatukana Gen Zs ni millennials. Ukikuja hapa X, wale ambao wananitukana mimi for having a platform ya civic education, they are millennials like me. Why can't millennials of this country wake up and say enough is enough? Mbona hamuna aibu? Watoto wadogo wametoka huko nyuma, they are changing the narrative of this country, na nyinyi mko tu hapo kama maembe. Why can't you see these millennials? Your great grandchildren pia watatoka huko nyuma fight for their country, na nyinyi mmekaa hapo. I am urging the millennials of this country. I am talking to you as a fellow millennial. Tafadhali, working for government is not achievement. But leaving behind a legacy for your children is an achievement. Kupata hiyo mshahara unapata kila mwezi is not an achievement. An achievement is leaving behind a nation that you found which is better than what your father gave you. Let me tell you, millennial, if you're listening to me, huyo mtoto wako amekupatia a future. Your child has loaned you a future. In the future, your child will ask you, Daddy, nilikupatia this future. What have you done with it? What will you tell that child? Utamwambia nini? Sisi let down Gen Zs, and that's why they are angry. And when they stand up to fight, tunawatukana. Gen Zs wameshindwa kupata leadership from us millennials. And that's why you see wanafanya mistakes here and there. Look at Kasmuel, for example. A very bright young man who had an opportunity to be a leader of this country. Lakini ameshindwa mtu wa kumpatia leadership. Ameingia into the trap of politicians. Yet sisi millennials ndio tungekuwa wa kwanza kumwambia, Kasmuel, look, usiende hiyo barabara. Hiyo ni trap umeekewa. Usiende huko, utamalizwa. We kept quiet. We saw Kasmuel moving from one media station to the other. Sisi millennials ndio tulikuwa na the responsibility ya kumchuna masikio na kumwambia, Kasmuel, don't go from one media station to the other. You will burn your fingers. Look at Morara. Juzi amerushiwa viti. Sisi millennials ndio tungekuwa kwanza kumwambia, hapo penye unaenda is hostile. Don't go there. Na kama lazima uende, tafuta goons, uende nao. So that when they start war, you also push back. But we kept quiet. Tulinyamaza. We have let down this country, millennials. I am so disappointed with the millennials of this country. They are not leading the discussion. They have let the discussion to be between Gen Zs and the politicians. And that's why these politicians are comfortable, because they know millennials ndio watawapigia kura. Cyprian and Brevin. That's my submission. Thank you.
Thank you, Amberix. So thank you everyone for your patience. We've been experiencing some technical issues throughout the discussion, but I have managed to add a few more speakers to the list. So if you have the mic, just go straight, speak up, so we can get to hear as many opinions and insights as possible. So this is an open mic session, as you all know. So just anyone request the mic if you have something to say, and if you have the mic, just kindly proceed. Bravin and Edgar, I don't know if you guys had something to say.
Yes, I think there's some people who are actually sending me messages in the DM. So right now we have an open mic. Everyone will be able to get an opportunity to speak. So if you manage to pass your point across, you can just drop back to the listening position so that other people can be able to come up and actually contribute to the conversation. You can have at least 5 minutes, or let's say three minutes, so that everyone can speak. And if there'll be extra time and you have more points to speak, we can definitely come back to you. Yeah. So, okay, to create a bit more of an order, you can just put up your hand if you have something to say. Then I'll be able to give you the mic. I think that will be a better and more orderly way to go. So, if you finish contributing, then you can just drop to the listening position. Thank you. Edgar, do you have something to say? You can go first. Then after Edgar, I think we can go to, I think the Amenya has spoken. I think he has dropped. I will go to Mkenya Daima, then Brian Osoro. And then I think we have Slippers here, Red. Yeah, in that order. Edgar?
Okay.
Thank you so much, Bravin. Am I audible?
Yes, you are very audible.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. I've also been having issues with joining the space because I'm actually using Safaricom internet, and from the look of things, I'm going to drop it today moving forward. So what I just wanted to put across is the fact that we actually need to remain very united for this cause. There are so many distractions that are happening right now, and with the parliamentarians trying to push an agenda, bringing in punitive bills that will make citizens have a mental exhaustion. Because I mean, we are not done with one issue, they bring in another issue. You're not done with the same issue, they bring in another issue. So we really have to have the grit, the mental grit to deal with everything at once. Because I mean, we are not talking even about our kids that disappeared, our kids that were banned in dormitories. They've already brought in some punitive GMO bills. They have brought in bills that do not in any way or in any case represent the interest of the people. So it's just an urge and a clarion call that we need to remain very focused, and the government will try so much to bring in the distractions that we've seen. There are so many distractions so that you get exhausted. You, in as much as you have the anger, you get exhausted. Because I mean, this same government rolls out SHIF, which is very unconstitutional. They do not do a proper public participation. Even the Adani deal, they don't do proper public participation. But when it comes to impeaching Rigathi Gachagua, they want to make it as if it's our business to be there and to be able to have an opinion on the same. You understand? And when William Ruto was handpicking Rigathi Gachagua, it took at least 12 hours for William Ruto to settle on Gachagua, because there were so many suitable candidates that William Ruto was with in the boardroom at the time. There was Anne Waiguru, Kithure Kindiki, and so many other people. But he went ahead and decided to pick Rigathi Gachagua. So the fact that he picked Rigathi Gachagua and they have been in this government together, and Rigathi has been doing whatever he has been doing, and now they are coming back to us and telling us that Rigathi is bad and Rigathi is a tribalist and all that. That is some shit and some bullshit that we really do not care. And for Rigathi is actually playing an emotional card, trying to actually go with the same script that William Ruto did back then, so that he can at least get some sympathy. So our main issue is not even Rigathi Gachagua being impeached or William Ruto. If they have to go, they have to go, all of them. No two ways about it. Our main issue is, I mean, the living standards are very high. Unemployment is skyrocketing. Our food systems is very, very bad in terms of the GMO. Once we open the doors for GMOs in this country, our food system is very bad. So the issue of Rigathi Gachagua and the media, I really want to call out the media. That's why when you see the likes of Cyprian Nyakundi is actually doing a very good job that the mainstream media cannot do in terms of telling people the truth. The mainstream media is positioned to push a certain government agenda. That's why I'm not afraid to call out the Star. You cannot be coming here, the Star newspaper, the editor of the day. I don't want to mention your name. You might be on. You might be on this space. You come on. You actually tell your people on the digital desk to post fake photos of Adani when JKI is taken over. What agenda do you have with such postings? I mean, the media is positioned to feed us with what they want us to consume. So it is very censored. They are not telling us the real truth. They are not telling us so many things. So we really have to be on the watch out, and we really have to remain focused. Thank you so much, Bravin, and that is, I submit.
Thank you so much, Edgar. I'm Kenya Daima.
Thank you, Bravin, for the opportunity. Mine is just straight to the point. There has been so many distractions that have happened in the last few days. One is things like impeachment. I think we have no business in impeachment. Whether Rigathi wants to shoot Ruto or Ruto shoots Rigathi, that's totally not our business. The reason why I'm here is imagine you like we have a bigger business to attend to, which is the SHIF and the Stop Adani, and we need to involve ourselves. That's why I created the open source project called Stop Adani, and imagine all the people who are either you are a lawyer, you are a software engineer, both the back end and front end engineers, and also analysts, to also to join the Discord channel where we are doing the development of Stop Adani. We need to, in order to kick Adani, we need serious commitment, and this serious commitment is not going to be there just because we come here and say Stop Adani. We need to take measures, and since the only thing that we have right now is our skills, and that's the thing that we are going to use to be able to stop Adani. We have to go the Australian way. They had their own platform, stopadani.com, and when I went to purchase their domains, I realized stopadani.com is taken, but I've taken stopadani.africa and stopadani.co.ke, and I set up the project. It's an open source project. We are urging everyone to come on board to be able to help us in building this platform. So guys, we cannot afford to complain each and every day without taking an action. So if something is exposed, if Amenya has exposed something, or Amerix has exposed something, or Edgar or Cyprian, then we have to look at what action we can take to make sure that we are not just making noise, because it is all going to be making noise if we can't take action. We can spend so much time talking about impeachment, but it's unnecessary to us. That is not supposed to be our concern. So if you have the skill, I've shared it on the Jumbotron. Kindly, you can join us and help us to be able to build this. A team of lawyers, team of software engineers, and also a team of analysts, and also researchers. And also, if you have vested interest and you can share some intel, we are developing a way that you can be able to share that intel anonymously. So that's all I'm urging. And these things are personal matters. Stop Adani, these are things that are personal. Reject SHIF, these are personal things that are affecting us in real life. So we shouldn't just be, it's about making noise and not taking action. No, guys, I mean, imagine everyone, let's take action. Stop looking at yourself and saying, what can I do? If you have any skill, that is what we want you to contribute to this cause, and not just this cause and any other cause that is there. But if we just focus on making noise, I think we are not going anywhere. It will just be noise. Tomorrow, what will let us do another thing just to distract us. Another day they bring, I don't know, another thing, and we'll never be able to focus on the real issues. So I'm going to urge you, each and everyone, just focus. Watching in a distraction mingi, because I think we Kenyans, we have a problem with attention. Impeachment ikitokea, we are all there. That is not our business. And sorry, I have to say this. I didn't know why the likes of Casmuel and the likes of Morara, why they were at Bomas. I didn't get the reason for them being there, because impeachment of Kinagashagwa, it's not our business. We can't let the political class set the agendas for us. Let's be the people who are setting our own agenda, whereby we understand our problems. Ama, you guys don't understand your problems, because by now you already know that SHIF is a problem. You already know Adani is the problem. And when we are making all this noise, you're not realizing that not only that Adani is taking the airport, it's already taken the Mombasa port. That is the information that is there. When we are all doing team focusing on Rigathi and all, Adani was taking over other places, and not only Adani. And these are not Adani. This is Ruto just doing state capture. There is no Adani in real case. This is just Ruto. And that's something we need to wake up and realize, that we can't be fixed on things that are necessary. That's all I wanted to say for today, Bravin. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kenya Daima. You are doing a very, very great job. So if you are on this space and you want to do us a favor, I think there is a post at the top of this this what can I call it, space on the Jumbotron, kindly just go and retweet that, and it will help to get or reach to more people. I think he has shared it at the top, and if you can be able to support him, just follow what he has said, and I think we'll be fine. The next person will be Brian Osoro. After Osoro, we'll go to just for the sake of having the voices of women of the space, I think we'll also go to Rebecca, and then after that, we'll go to John, then we'll go back again to Ray. I think that order will create us at least some time before it's called Brightham. I think I pronounced that well. Then after that, we'll bring other people on board so that you can also share. Sorry, you can proceed.
Hello everyone. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, so I'll try to be as fast as I can, and I realize that SHA and SHIF is what is very pertinent at the moment, but I would take a different stance on it. Okay, in the same light, but my viewpoint is okay. I come from a software background, and I really found it interesting that because ideally before you launch, or you go live, you ought to have all stakeholders, in line and understanding what the system is, and then even other than that, you also need to have run stress tests and etc. I knew of a few people who work there in the IT department, and even them, they seemed confused that, it's like they woke up in the morning and it's like everything was off. So it's like the government decided to switch off NHIF and switch on SHA and SHIF, and this was mainly a PR exercise by the UDA-led government. At first, when it came to me, I could not believe that a president, can steep that low. In fact, I thought I was overthinking. But the more I started looking into things like case management, claims management, onboarding, it never made sense. And I think it was at that moment when, of course, I know, the guy is shady. But there was something that, I don't know why I thought that he could not go to that level and get to that level. So October 1st, it was it's what they had set up as UDA and etc. So the launch as a party was more important than the patients. And then you'd have people like David D and Moses Kuria describe. In fact, it's in his tweets on David D, where he would talk of he paints a picture of a lot of cartels that had infiltrated NHIF. And he even says that those cartels, we could not remove them as government. And because we could not remove them, we have to introduce something new. And then, the language he was using, any Kenyan who's not keen enough or slow enough like me to listen what somebody is saying and what the reality is to sort of decipher, will actually believe what you're saying. But in reality, if you look at how a hospital is onboarded on NHIF, I think there are doctors here, they can tell you, it is so elaborate. It is not something that, it's not like registering for an Instagram or X or, I don't know, TikTok account. It is very elaborate. How a claim is made is very elaborate. And this money, it's not paid at cash, at your chini ya maji, no. It's sent to a bank account. So when you have a government that says that, there's a lot of infiltration by the cartels who are stealing, and you're like, okay, I'm not disputing that people are not stealing from NHIF, but you have the evidence. Like there's a trail. Money came from this, whatever, was sent from NHIF to this hospital. You can follow those people. Banks do not register accounts without, they have that process called KYC. So anyway, I think it was at that moment when I realized that indeed this thing is a scam. I knew it was a scam, but I'm one person who takes time to really look at the underlying details, and then I feel like that's more helpful, so that when you come on a public platform like this, people can actually understand that this is not political. This is something that it's like painting a picture of what is real and what is not real. Anyway, other than that, if you can allow me, I would like to speak about the whatever it is that is happening, especially with the Gen Zs. And when you talk of they need guidance and etc. This is what I'll say, and maybe I've been saying it for a very long time. Structure, organization is very key. It made sense for Gen Zs not to be leaderless, at that time, because people are afraid that whoever presented themselves as leaders would be compromised by the leadership. But I think we are past that. Right now, it's more of action plans, goals, objectives, and etc. And I feel like that is what is missing. But I like what Wanjiru and the other people here, what they're trying to do. I feel like it's okay for Gen Zs to, or let me not even say Gen Zs, for Kenyans to, at their own levels, capacities, and places, to coalesce and sort of have a structure. And there's Kenya Daima has talked of open source. This is actually how many software projects have been built, where you have people from all over the world coming together with a single idea of building something that never existed. You have the Linux Foundation, you have, or like, there are so many different projects I feel like this movement can pick, whereby each and every person know what they understand what they need to do, and there's moderation. There's a lot of like, there are channels of communication. For instance, Casmuel ought to have understood that Gen Zs don't appreciate leaders who talk, with the current leadership. But now you see, since there's no structure, that is very bland, and maybe I'm not trying to hold this brief, but I'm just trying to explain what might have happened and why I think it's good to have structure.
Yes, please summarize so that you can at least.
Okay. So. Okay, and now as I wound up, I would like to finalize with numbers. 2022, the number of people who are to register of the demographic of 18 years and 24 years, there were 8 million people. ABC was expecting to register 8 million people, most of whom their age were ranging from 18 to 24 years. Only 2 million of those registered. The 6 million did not register. And from those 2 million, less than 1.5 voted. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because, yes, Ruto is afraid of Gen Zs, but he does not see them as a threat when it comes to elections. He's afraid that they can burn the town and etc. He looks at numbers. That's why he can pick Joho. He understands the numbers that Joho can bring. I feel like, in as much as, yes, we could be fighting them on the streets, IBC needs to be something we also need to look at. Okay, asante sana.
Thank you so much for your contribution. The next speaker on the panel will be Reba. I think Reba was the one supposed to follow. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing the name properly. Reba. Okay, if she's not yet ready, I think we can go to John, because John was a bit earlier.
Hi, sorry, I'm here.
Okay, proceed. Then John will come after.
Sure thing. So, guys, I'm grateful for this platform, Amerix. While I have never shared your sentiment, I think the movement has brought us together, and I'm glad that we're here. Nelson, if you're here, I know it's not going to be easy, but we have your back. And guys, this movement was never going to be easy. I wish Morara was here, but Morara, whenever you're listening, wherever you are, we have your back. We were thirsty for somebody who was going to speak up for the movement outside, X, and Vampire Diaries came along, and here we are. I'm sorry what happened to you, Abomas, but as somebody said somewhere, politics is not easy. But one thing you need to know is, we have your back. And to all Kenyans, because at this point, it's not about Gen Zs, it's about all of us as Kenyans, because we are tired. Like, Punda amechoka. And at the end of it all, guys, I'm grateful that as a nation, we are at a point that we know it is not going to be as business as usual. It can never be and will not be. So, guys, political sides, we are in this together, and here we are. Over to you.
Thank you so much. John, you are the next speaker. And if you have already spoken, kindly just drop to the listening panel so that I can be able to add more people to also contribute. If you want to come back, you can definitely request the mic again. John.
Bravin?
Yes.
Bravin, please drop me from the speaker panel. I can't figure it out. I am not a Gen Z or a millennial.
Okay, it's okay.
Thanks.
So first, I want to talk about, I want to pick from Kenya Mzee. We need to have a conversation behind the tent. Thank you very much, buddy. I think we can build and make what you're doing better. Then the next thing is just to implore us to remain focused. Please, please, forget about the fights. The cause is bigger than we can ever exhaust. Kila mtu inject kivyake. Don't fight someone who is injecting with claims that, oh, this one has been paid or no. Let everyone inject in their own way. Do not distract us and do not try to gag the other person. What I can ask you, let us keep off politics. We know what we need to focus on. If you are keen on Adani, inject. If you are keen on SHA, SHIF, inject. If you are keen on university funding model, inject. If you are only keen on something else, you inject. However, those who want to distract us by steering the cause towards politics, that is the enemy. And there are those who are focused on fighting others. Please, you're not helping the cause. Wewe inject kivyako, now keep focus. The enemy is those who are against the rule of law and the Constitution of Kenya. Hao ndio watu unafaa tupige vita. And anyone trying to drive us towards or steering the ship away from the course, the ship has set sail. Let us have our minimum deliverables. And as you inject, you must remain factual. Because any moment when you tell lies or you peddle rumors or disinformation, you're not helping the cause. Remember, people have died to be where we are today. Remember, people have lost their limbs. Some have lost their sight. Some have lost their sense of hearing just for the purpose of this cause. So if you are going to help the cause, please help it positively. I look keenly and I listen to what everyone is saying. But I'm wondering, why are we picking on what is already working? I will not talk about the likes of Kasmuel Morara or what. Remember, they are doing what they are doing in their own way. If they are failing, why can't you succeed on your end so that you cover for what they are failing to do? Let us not focus. Now, moving on to this week that we begin. Rule of law. There are those who are listening here who are advocates of the High Court of Kenya. You know what you need to do. There are those who are medics. And then there are those whose job is just to tweet and retweet. They don't do much, but they are just fanning the fire in the right way. Let us keep it that way. And as I leave you, because I don't want to bore you with so many words, remember, if you are religious, you can also play a role of praying for this country, and most importantly, holding to account your religious leaders. If you are a family man, you can also play a role by educating your kids, your siblings, and even your parents. And if by any chance you work for the government of Kenya, your job is to give us requisite information so that we can inject more. You'll be helping the cause. Thank you very much. Over and out.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Lawrence. You have made a significant point by saying we shouldn't be fighting each other, but we should be working together towards achieving the same goal. I think that should be the message across the board. And if anyone is pushing on anything, kindly, and you know it's something that people need to see, you can always just share some of those links also to some of us. Will be able to retweet the post so that it can get to some people. Meanwhile, yes, I think we are Ray. Ray, you can pick up from there. I think it's Kamwindi Ray.
Hi, good evening, guys. So much has been said, and so much is has been noted down for us to listen and understand. My main concern goes to now that we know about Adani, GKA, and the health sector. How many things and how many transactions are going around without the public noticing? I specifically say into my home area, that is the coastal region. Now that there's this blue economy thing, I feel like, and I feel like even the port is no longer there. But anyway, I'm not sure, but I feel like every big set parastatal and everything is being auctioned, because we just finding out things slowly by slowly by slowly. But how much disastrous has it affect our country, and how bad is it? How is it going to affect our generations and our generations to come? And where are we heading as a country? The small distractions should not keep us going astray, because I believe apart from these two things that are floating around, there is more and more damage that is being done to our country with these our leaders, especially when they go to these foreign trips. I feel like this is a gamble. They're going to gamble with our life. They're going to gamble with our future, our kids' future. We now live in a situation, it's just hand to mouth. We cannot even put a coin for investment, because even if you want to invest on something small, it won't take 2 months, 3 months to see your investment deteriorated. Money is not flowing, things are not going, people are closing businesses, and like our country, Kenya, is just slowly draining. Actually, it's not even slowly, it's draining very fast, like an hourglass sand. Like, we don't even have time to sit down and tolerate nonsense of other people diverting corners from our main agendas. We should just focus, because I feel like there's so many things that has been hidden around here that we even don't know. But the fact that people fear to release information and to talk, that's why we're being kept out of dark. Because if our main institutions like the airport, our healthcare system, our energy system is going, how far do we know even our national park has been sold? How far do we know even the government hotels and chains that are there have been sold? There's so many things happening and we have less time. The more we focus on injecting on the main agendas, the better for us to recover what is left. So I will urge everybody to focus on the mission, because as time goes by, things are running and these people are gaining momentum and they're using our weakness, like small distractions, like people, we fight each other, internal things, mara tunatukanana hapo kwa Twitter, mara sijui ni nini. They really enjoy, because that's the time they gather and they make quick plans and they move the chassis very fast. Tutapata they're already 10 steps ahead. We're heading in a very bad situation, so we better wake up, dust up, move, and we focus on regaining everything that we have lost. I don't have much to say, but I'm hoping and praying everything goes well and God gives us good health so that this fight will never go to vain. And I'm hopeful that us as Kenyans will unite as one. Tutakomboa nchi yetu. Thank you and good night.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that contribution. No, it's good to have also the voices of women in the space so that it does not leave anyone behind. If you're also part of the listening panel, I'm still repeating, and you want to contribute, there's time for everyone. So you can just request. We'll give everyone an opportunity to speak. We're not going to close anyone out. So now we are going to Valentine. I think Valentine is the next speaker. After Valentine, we'll pick up on, is it Ahmed Abdi Hafid? Hopefully I've pronounced that well. Abdi Hafid Ahmed. We'll go after Valentine. Then after that, I will go to JP Lacour. Hey, that's a very tricky name. Yes. JP Lacour. Then we'll come to Brian in that order. Thank you. You can proceed, Valentine. Valentine Baraza. Okay, if Valentine is not ready, then Ahmed, you can proceed. Ahmed, can you hear me? Okay, if Ahmed is not ready, then I think we can go to Brian. Brian Kimathi. Yes, Brian, proceed.
Yes, thank you very much
Yes, you're very
for this
audible.
opportunity, Bravin, and yeah, thank you very much, Americ, Cyprian, and everyone who has submitted. And my clarion call today, this evening, is that guys, each and every person who is here, each and every person, the listening panel and the speakers panel, each and every one of us, we all have a duty, and from the ongoings in this country right now, it's so sad. It's so draining. I get it's so mentally draining. It's so physically draining, and all that. But we can make as much noise as we want. Each and every one of us has a duty. For example, let me say also an infographic. So I joined Mkenya Daima's a forum where we are supposed to translate the constitution, in different languages, so that they can be able to reach the grassroots. Because our main problem is not us or most of the people who are here in this platform. The main problem is the people who are in the grassroots, which was touched by someone here. Because those people, they don't have access to internet, they don't have access to education, and most of them are really struggling. So each one of us, we have a duty. Wherever you go, wherever you are, starting from today, make sure the message is passed. Even at any any place you are, whether in a matatu, whether at home, whether at wherever you are, whether to your parents, whether to your sister, whether to your. Let me just use my example of mine. Where I am in church, I'm also a teacher. I talk to the children each and every Sunday. I repeat the same thing across, and again, because that is the only way that. So my hope is that each one of us will take it into our hearts. Let us take it as a duty. Let us take it as a passion to make sure that these people are out of the office. These people are in the right direction. So please, do not give up. God is expecting you. Thank you very much. Bravin, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Kindly summarize kidogo.
Bravin, is someone on the speaker?
I think he dropped. It's Brian who was speaking, but probably he dropped from the space.
Okay, in that case, then, who was next? We can have Joanne.
JP Lako was supposed to be next.
Okay, I can go next. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for creating this space. I think there's a lot of distraction, and I think it's being pushed by government and their bloggers. And part of it, of course, is this impeachment. And they're trying to take our focus away from SHIF and Adani, but most importantly as well, IBC. I think we are still forgetting that IBC is not fully constituted and time is running out. And I think the MPs, knowing this, have gotten too comfortable since June 25th. And they should still be on their toes, and they're behaving like it's business as usual, as if June 25th didn't happen. And I think the proof of this as well will probably be on Tuesday, because even after people have said we really don't care about the impeachment, we want them to focus on SHIF, Adani, providing adequate healthcare, they're still pushing this. And it's like they learned nothing. And I'm not saying that I'm pro Gachagua. To be honest, I don't really care for him. I just don't want the president to win or his cronies to win. If it means Gachagua stays, let it be a pain in their own behind. That is their own issues. But I think let's stay focused on SHIF and Adani, and supporting whistleblowers like Nelson, and pushing for them to succeed. But most importantly as well, they're distracting us with the infighting, because we have to be sincere that we're asking for too much accountability from people like Caswell and Morara, who are not our elected leaders. They're people who put themselves up to be at the forefront of a lot of these movements. Yet we are always the first ones to start criticizing and talking this and that and the other. And even not just those two, but even with Hanifa, with people attacking them on the internet, like we voted for them. We didn't. We did not. We didn't vote for them. We're asking for too much accountability for people who are sort of in their own way part of the struggle. Again, shifting focus and letting politicians divide us. When things like that happens, it's government bloggers who are like, situliwaambia hawa watu wako hivi na hivi na hivi, forgetting it's all the MPs who we voted for, unfortunately. So let's focus on the people and asking for accountability for the people we voted for, and still try and support people on this platform who are trying to champion for change. On top of that, when it comes to maandamano, let's show up. I think as Kenyans, we have become very comfortable, very, very comfortable, because we think Sudan can never happen to us. We think Uganda's level of dictatorial, that we can't happen to us again, because, oh yeah, we've gotten rid of Moi, this can't happen to us again. We think we can't have Tanzania's Magufuli, or even what Tanzania is doing now. We have become so comfortable as the Kenya that was leading the top economy of East Africa. We forget that these things can change in an instant, and they have. Our lives have gotten hard. We can't get medicine. We can't afford university. We can't afford cancer treatment. As for example, we're dealing with cancer in a family, and things like that just wipe you out all completely. And it's not unique for us, it's everyone. You can't afford primary school because they have messed up with the education system. So you can't even afford private school. You can't afford anything. Kenyans cannot afford anything. And yet we don't show up for mandamanos. We're too comfortable. You have the same faces that go out on the streets. In fact, the first mandamano, it was women. The first mandamano, a lot of women were arrested on the same day. And then subsequently after, of course, with the goons and everything. But we have to accept we are not special as Kenyans and actually fight for our rights and be on the streets and be in the matatus and be talking with our colleagues and also boycotting taxes, boycotting a lot of government services that don't make sense. Because, like I said, we have just become, our comfort is, I think the middle class is failing. I think the people in the city is failing. The villages have started to complain. And if there anything was evident, was watching news this week, people in the villages are starting to wake up and to be aware that some things are not right and it's not a city problem. And we have to stop framing the disquiet as a Nairobi problem, a Mombasa problem. Our politicians are too comfortable. Look what Didi of Mombasa has done. And he probably isn't the first one to have to do this to other people. We just have a guy who was courageous enough to speak. But we have to push and champion for these people who've put their lives on the line to speak truth to power and to say the truth. We have to stand up and speak for all of those people who are online here fighting, retweet, repost, but focus. Why is our airport being sold? What has the KA staff done? And also the KA staff should know we can't be fighting for them and then they're accepting deals under the table at the airport. The airport is for all of us. It's not for KA staff. We don't have SHIF. They can't be returning money for just one person. They're giving back one person 9,500 when our parents cannot even get dental care. Which family has 1,000 dental care? Is that even a consultation fee? Like, we have to ask these questions. We have to ask accountability for our MPs. We have the phone numbers now of most of our MPs. We know where the CDF offices are. We have to stage and just show up. We have to show up, record everything, document everything, save everything, share everything. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. I think we can move to our next speaker, who is Lactose the intolerant.
Am I audible?
Very audible.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Cyprian and Eric, for hosting this space, which is usually helping us. And I want to thank as well Nelson. Nelson, big shout out to you for exposing the Adani deal. Come again? Hello, am I audible?
So, yeah, you are very audible. You're very audible. Sorry.
Yeah. So I think what is right now happening is there's a lot of distraction in the revolution which has been happening, and the biggest distraction have been these paid activists. I've sensed a lot. Someone like Samuel and Morara, they're becoming the biggest obstacle here, basically. And I'm not going to spare anyone. To be honest, I will thank the people like guys like Nelson, Cyprian, Eric, people who have been genuine with this cause for so long. But if you look at what is happening, the Adani deal is being watered down. No one is following up. So basically, Gachagua has become our problem. We don't care about Gachagua. If he's impeached today, tomorrow, we don't care. Wherever he goes, he was in the deal with Ruto. They were stealing together. So when things turned sour, he's trying to seek sympathy. And I've realized that people are rallying behind Gachagua, which is another big problem. So there's been a lot of distraction. Our airports are being sold. The ports are going like that. And the worst part that they are now hijacking is our health. NHIF was supposed to be improved, not to be replaced. What is happening now, Kenya is becoming a crime scene. And we should all expose those people who are claiming to be our leaders. No one is our leader. If you look at Morara, he's been claiming he's the president, he's whatever. Someone looks like he's being funded by some politicians behind. And the things will come to pass. So we should all be awake. Let us keep talking about Adani, Nelson, who has been fronting this. Thank you so much, and the rest. And I think that is all I can mention. And guys, please, anyone who's becoming a distraction in this, in what is going on in our country today, should be called out. Morara should be called out. Kasamuel, Hanifa, all of them seems to be in one league. So these are people who they know what they are doing. They are being funded. No one is our president. No one has been chosen. We need accountability. If we decide to choose someone to be our leader, it has to come from somewhere that we all have a space and we know that this is going to be our leader. But for now, what we are fighting for is for our rights. We haven't reached that stage. The distraction has to be stopped. People should call out the likes of Morara, Kasamuel, all those Boniface Mwangi and Hanifas. We know basically what they are doing. So please, I think Americs and everyone should call out these people. We are not going to spare anyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your sentiment. I'll give the next speaker the opportunity to share. That is Pius Osoro. You're going to get the mic. Then after you, then goes John Kimberly. After that, we'll go to Keoti Sonko. Yes, Osoro, you can proceed. Osoro, I can't hear you. Are you in the space? If you're not able to contribute, then I think John, you can proceed.
Okay, hi. I hope I'm audible enough. But yes. So what I want to say is that for protests to work, they must be loud and they must be disruptive. That is something I may have heard somewhere, but I can't remember who said so. But for protests to work, they must be loud and they must be disruptive. And that is something that is going to be undermined if we allow the Assembly and Demonstrations Bill of 2024 to be passed into an act of parliament. And I think we are going to forget this because we are trying to say, speak out, speak out, speak out. And if this bill passes, we won't be able to do so because how are we supposed to speak out when we hit the streets? The government won't listen if we're quiet. And if this bill passes into law, there's nothing we can do about it because if you go and look at the bill, the police is given so much power and it truly undermines Article 37. So that is something that I would just like us all to take note of. And secondly, I had a lot of talking about funds. And we are not sure, especially Francis, emphasized so much on giving over 30 million to Hanifa, and I don't know how much to who. I don't know if we are sure that the Law Society of Kenya has a legal aid fund that we can channel our contributions to, and you can saw they are quite active and outgoing in helping protesters. So if there is no place you can take these funds, take them to the Law Society of Kenya. They have a legal aid fund that does all this. And then thirdly, there is also the constitutional amendment bill that seeks to extend the terms of the people we are complaining so much about here. The president, the members of parliament from 5 to 7 years. Guys, all of this is interlinked. If the bill passes, how will we be able to air out our issues? And if the bill on assembly passes, how will we be able to air out our issues? And we will air out our issues specifically on this constitutional bill through the streets. But it will go through a whole process. If it follows the correct channels of the law, it will go through a referendum. So when it reaches that period, if we don't protest and just make the drafter of that bill, the senator from Nandi, drop it, we will have to hit the streets. And if it's not hitting the streets, we have to wait until we go for a referendum. So as we are talking about all of this, let us not be distracted, because as we have been saying, there are things happening, and this is meant, and the whole Gachagua spectacle is just to distract us from the tiny little things that are happening on the ground. So this is a clarion call. Let us put all of this together and face them all together, and not focus so much on one thing as we are forgetting another thing. Thank you so much.
Bravin, I think I just allow me to correct something. Before Kimberly spoke, there's a gentleman who spoke, and he spent a lot of time attacking revolutionaries like Kasmuel, Hanifa, Murara. That is what we've said we're not going to tolerate. Let us stay focused. If you're going to spend time attacking me or attacking another revolutionary, you're wasting our time. Our focus is on the cause. What is it that we are trying to advocate? Remember, there are those who are planning demos so that we go back to the streets. Do you guys take time to
Where did Lawrence disappear to? Okay, Otisonko, please proceed.
Okay. Good evening, guys. Hope mko fiti. And so, personally, just came here to say something small before I drop off. First of all, guys, honestly, kama mjui bana, the government doesn't listen to kelele tunapiga huku social media at times. Yeah, they really don't listen to that. I came to realize that most of these politicians and the likes of Ruto and Kina Raila, they don't even know that there are social media platforms like Twitter, TikTok, Telegram, Instagram, Facebook, they exist, because we find out that most of the time people who are running their social media platforms ni watu wengine tu, and so at times some messages they don't reach out to them. And so me personally, I feel like the other day when we went to Bomas of Kenya and the other places across the country to air our issues, of course, on matters, the impeachment of Gachagua, hapo ndio they felt like indeed huko ground vitu zimekuwa moto, and that's why Ruto had to call for a meeting recently. I don't know kama ilikuwa jana on Friday, but yeah, I'm being informed that he had that meeting and they were discussing on matters, the impeachment motion of Gachagua. So honestly, I feel like it's time, even as much as we do everything on this social media platform, let us even hit the ground at least once a week or even twice, because that's when these people will now feel that wrath. But the moment we do digital activism, I feel like at times it only reaches their personal assistants na hawezi pena that information. Apart from that, guys, shida tuko nazo ni nyingi sana. Yeah, even as much as we are talking about the Adani deal, the SHIF, the SHA, honestly, just look at what we've been revealing. Yeah, look at, for example, today I've been in Mombasa and I went to the Mombasa Stadium. That stadium has been there since 2018 and it was allocated 1.8 billion. Yeah, the stadium kitu iko nayo tu ni those the reels, alafu simiti kidogo, but even when you look at the materials, zote zilishaenda. Yeah? So you find out that in most of the counties, at least 90% of the counties, we have the projects that the government or the national government and even the county governments have been allocating there a lot of millions of money and even billions, yeah. And these projects ziko too, but those people cannot account for. So personally, I feel like, for instance, now we are looking at the states of the stadiums to wonder if we can mobilize even sportsmen, yeah. Tuko na very influential sportsmen across the country. Tuulize if they are really okay with the nature, or I mean how the stadiums look like. If they're okay with that, tuachane nayo. Now we have the Adani issue, yeah, the airport. Most of the workers at the airport ni wa Kenya. Let us call some of them and ask them, kama wana feel like the Adani deal is okay with them, tuachane now, yeah. Let us go to the university students. Recently, I saw some stupid university students who are at Bomas of Kenya with UDA. Let us ask them if they are okay to pay 163,000 per semester for an engineering course. If they are okay with that, tuachane now. Because at times I feel like we are here talking about issues that affect us. But some people, they don't see the importance of speaking about these issues. They really don't know the importance of people going to the ground to reveal these stalled projects. Yeah. So, mimi, I feel like let us take probably kama 1 week hivi. We analyze what main problems are we having. Yeah. If this problem really exceeds our effort, if they exceed our expectations when the government walikuwa wanapeana, then we can probably go back to the streets. Yeah. Because honestly, we have a lot of social media influencers on these platforms. Tukisema, let us mobilize, we go even to the streets. We have musicians, we have artists, we have our jokers, ama sijui wanajiita comedians, the likes of Akina Omondi. Yeah. These guys, let us call them. Yeah. Tuambie, if we are going to the streets, maybe tarehe fulani, it means each and every person should ensure that they mobilize within the means of their reach. Yeah. And then after that, we see how we are going to call for our policy. We give them the notice the way they want before we go to the streets. And so the government, the only language wanasikiza is the streets. Huku social media tunapiganga kelele tu, tunaongea nyingi, but those guys don't read even our comments. Yeah. So the only thing we do, let us see how many issues are we having. If these issues, they are really pressing, then the only language that those guys watasikiza ni maandamano. Juzi venye tumeenda nini, tume have that public gathering and public participation. Ruto felt it because he saw it on the television when people were issuing the what they feel deep in their hearts. We don't want Gachagua to go, but we want Ruto and Gachagua to go. That's when this government, they will feel it. But tukiendelea tu hapa digital activism, honestly, those guys, they don't give a shit. They don't give a fuck of what we write here. The only thing we need to do, bana, achaneni na simu nini, tubebe mipini za jembe, twende kwa street bana, tukutane nao Bunsphere. Thank you.
Shukran sana. Eric, is Dr. Eric Kimathi. You are our next speaker. Eric? I am Eric. Okay.
Hello. Mnanisikia?
Yes. Proceed.
Okay, my name is to put across. First of all, na congratulate akina Kotsonko ile kazi wanafanya huko kwa Moi University. Moi University, it's a crime scene for talk. Shule imefungwa, wanafunzi wamekuja 1 month masomo, and at the head wanaambiwa waende nyumbani na wajui ni lini watarudi. So guys, come and muone nini shida at the Moi University. Then the second thing, I think the kurudi kwa street again, hapo ndio serikali itatusikiza tena. Hapa social media, unajua sio kila mtu ana access this social media. So at least kienda kwa things, I think be different again. Unaona through the crowd hapo Ruto aliwasikiza and ali dissolve the cabinet. So guys, let's pull up our socks, tusitake kufinyiliwa. No, we are the leaders of tomorrow and we must prepare it today. The moment hawa wazee wamekaa kwa government like Ruto, Yahya na those guys akina sijui Junet, akina Ishungwa wamekaa kwa government, so it is their time. Hii ndio wakati wao kuvacate, 2027 with a strategy, with a plan, vile tutatoa hao majamaa. Unajua recently nimeona watu wengi huko kwa vilabu hivi kubwa kubwa wana chant Ruto must go, Ruto must go. Hapo hawezi sikiza juu atasema hao ni walevi. So guys, tena turudi kwa street, we do our best and even before 2027 tunapaswa kutoa huyu jamaa juu amekadamiza, like he want to overthrow everything yenye alikuta hapo NHIF ndio anatoa new funding model, analeta vitu hazieleweki, so guys, we need to do something. Okay, I submit.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your contribution. Mweru? Mweru?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here. Thank you so much for the mic. I appreciate everybody who basically, even by hosting a space, you're basically risking your life when it comes to this government. So I really appreciate everybody's effort. I see KOT is here. I mean, I don't live in Kenya. I live in the US, but I follow what everybody is doing. Mine, I have really had a hard time. I've been struggling this weekend after watching the videos of bombers. This is almost, I would say for me, a week after watching the video of what happened to the guy in Mombasa. And I understand we have a lot of issues, but I cannot help ask myself why these MPs have the audacity to conduct themselves like this. I know the IEBC is not running and working, so they feel like the public has no power or authority to do anything about what they're doing. What happened to Marara is unacceptable because that can happen to me, it can happen to you, it can happen to anybody here. My question is, after we've even identified these goons, even after the guy from Mombasa identified the people who did whatever they did to him, what are we going to do about this? What is going to be our response? Because this makes me very, very bitter that these people are so shameless. As much as they're not even doing their job that they're supposed to do. I calculated how much money these MPs make. Their health insurance amounts to almost 11 million Kenya shillings. They always come here to the US for treatment. And now they're collapsing the healthcare system in Kenya just to take a 1 million Kenya shilling bribe. They don't want to represent Kenyans. They're not doing their jobs. They're not serving their purpose. Kenyans have said it out loud. They want to Ruto out. If they're really there to represent Kenyans and serve their roles, they should have already started, initiated an impeachment motion towards this man. But obviously that is not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So my question is, this is a new week that is coming. My expectation is we're going to have more drama and more scandals this week. That has been my mindset. Every day I wake up, I expect a new scandal, a new major issue, a new violation, a lot of unconstitutional deals like the Adani deal, a lot of unconstitutional bills being passed. But my question is, what are we going to do about it? Because we cannot let this pass. Like, enough is enough already. I'm not even on the ground and I'm so mad. So if you guys need, it's time. The protests we need to get rid of this man. All this is happening in only 2 years. Can you imagine what he's going to do by 2027? This is in 2 years only. He's already even collapsing the agriculture sector. So I don't understand why people, I understand there's talks of protest and whatever. I don't understand why Kenyans are, some of them I speak to are not even willing to get out on the streets. I have some fellow Kenyans here, and I'm so glad Americ's called out millennials. Millennials who live in the US talking smack about this movement. Talking smack about this movement, that they're wasting their time. They're just entitled city people. Yet they left Kenya because they couldn't even sustain themselves in Kenya. They had to leave the country. And now instead of them supporting this movement, they're finding reasons to talk shit about young Kenyans who are willing to fight for the country. And they're millennials. I know them. I came to this country with them. So my question is, after I've watched those videos, listen to those MPs inciting violence, because this can happen to any of us. What are we going to do about it this week? Because in my opinion, we need to address this and do something about it. We have to stop them. We cannot tolerate this. That is the only thing I wanted to say today. But please, please, we have to respond to what is happening. All these violations on us, we have to do something. I just saw they're trying to introduce a bill to ban protests in CBD. Who are they to think they can do this when they're not even doing their jobs? My own constituency, I went there the other day. Where is the money? Wamushawa, she's always running her mouth. Where are the roads not working? What are these people doing for us? So we need to fight for the IBC, and we start recalling these people actively. I don't know why they think that they're invincible in all this. All these goons they're hiring, we know them. What are we doing about this? We need to send a message to them too. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say. But I see Nelson Amenya is here. I really respect you, because I read the Adani deal, and had you not exposed this, which I said after reading that deal, this is just a beginning with Adani. It's just a beginning. Soon we're going to start seeing mining. These people are talking about the government of Kenya has to provide them work permits. And this is a deal for 30 years. And if you read the constitution in Kenya, if you're there legally for 7 years, you become a citizen. And they want to be in the country for 30 years. They're never going to leave. We're just being colonized. We're becoming an Indian territory, an American territory. Why? Because we have an idiot, a pimp, a serial killer in office. All they care about is themselves. So we need to get them out ASAP. We cannot wait until 2027. I counted the days. Now we have 1,035 days until the next election. We cannot wait that many days. Anyway, thank you so much for the mic.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now, as we wind up, I'll go to Bravin to give his winding remarks, and then Cyprian, and then we will end it.
Thank you so much, Eric, and thank you for hosting this space. What I want to say is that we have a long way to go as Kenyans, and we all need to put our hands on the deck, because there's a lot of things that we need to deal with, and there are so many issues we are getting bombarded with, to an extent where we forget there are other crucial things that already happened, and they keep pushing them under the table. So these are things that we need to also address. And if you see people are raising issues in the public domain that concerns the public, kindly share those posts, share them across the board. There are people who might see the message and are able to do something. They'll be able to at least even share information of the same, so that we can even act more. And if you can contribute to this movement in any way, you are welcome. You do not have to be someone that probably has a following already or what. You can just come in at any capacity that you can. You can bring information, anything you can contribute that will be able to help us at least achieve what we want to achieve, and support those people who are doing something to the movement. And there are people whom you might not see that they are doing something better for the movement, but they are doing a lot, because every number that we have in the movement matters. So it's good that everyone is in that kind of state where we are realizing that we truly need to have a better country, because if we do not act right now, it will be too late when we keep waiting. Because if you look at the issue of SHIF, this is one of those things that I would even love Kenyans to just stop everything they're doing and come outside. This is health. It is literally your existence that has been put on the line. You know, you are just a medical emergency away from rendering your entire generation poor because of a health issue when it arises and you cannot afford it. I understand this because I've been dealing with the issue about health back home. So it's something that is very serious. So if people cannot access cover or healthcare and they can't afford it, and even some hospitals lack even the medicine, then we have a really big problem in the country. Right now, we are also seeing issues with another scandal in the Ministry of Sports. You know, there are so many things that are happening, and we need to work on how we can be able to sort this. And this can only be sorted out if we get better leadership. Otherwise, thank you for contributing to this space, and thank you for hosting this space. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Cyprian.
Thank you, Amerix. So a huge thank you to everyone who took part in today's discussion. And of course, thank you to you and Bravin, our co-host, as well as Edgar. So everyone who participated in the discussion, I guess we've all had the message. The civic education must continue everywhere to the grassroots level. So let us all keep injecting and playing our various roles to help the movement however we can. So that's all I have to say.
Great. Thank you very much for everyone who participated and joined, listening in, tuning in, and being part of this discussion. It has been a challenging evening because my location had a lot of issues, power issues, internet issues, and therefore the equipment or the studio equipment was unable to pick the signals for a smooth space than before. Otherwise, thank you for your patience, for sitting through, being patient and listening. We've had all the submissions from our speakers, and I want to encourage each one of you that you must have a dream. Each one of you must have a dream. If you look at the profile picture on my timeline, it is a profile, it is a picture of a person I admire. It is a picture of a person whom, when I wake up every morning, I ensure I read a chapter or a quote from any of his books. Because this is an image that inspires me to think on how I can change my community. I do not have to change the entire country, but the community of the people around me, my followers, my subscribers, and the people who have entrusted me. It is your responsibility wherever you are to always have a dream to make your community better than you found it. And every day you go to sleep and you wake up, always ask yourself, what is your dream to change the community that you have? Always have a dream. And one of the dreams that you must build and inculcate in your life is to leave your community better than you found it. Don't be like politicians, because politicians want to leave the community worse than they found it. The difference between you, the person listening to me, and the politician is that you are a leader and the other one is a politician. A leader thinks about the next generation, while a politician thinks about the next election. A leader thinks about a politician thinks about a country, while a leader thinks about a nation. A politician thinks about the letter of the Constitution. That's why they keep on amending it. But a leader thinks about the spirit of the Constitution. The spirit of the Constitution is the voice of the people. You cannot change it. You cannot amend the voice of the people. If the people say no, you cannot amend that no. You have to listen and submit and be submissive to the voice of the people, because the voice of the people is the voice of God. So the difference between a leader and a politician is that a leader listens to the voice of the people, while the politician listens to the voice of Satan. That's why this country or this nation has been engulfed in sadness, in pain, in tears, in blood, People cannot clean their urinary bladders because the dialysis departments have closed. We are in a crisis as a nation. We have lost our nation. We have lost our beliefs, our values, our morals. We have destroyed them. We have defiled our soul as a nation. When those young men were shot dead at the gates of parliament, and no single member of parliament has stood up and said, this is wrong, then we do not have a nation. We don't. We have a country, but the country is also going. Our resources are being sold. Our port is gone. Our airport is gone. Our healthcare is gone. Our minerals are gone. Everything is going. One day you'll wake up and learn that this country is no longer called Kenya. It has a different name. It has been sold. And let's not forget that the spirit of our nation, as written by our forefathers, was etched in our national anthem. And it is no surprise that the politicians of today cannot even sing the first stanza of the national anthem, because they do not have the spirit of the nation at heart. They don't. They are heartless, they are callous, they are cold-blooded, they are crooks, they are thieves, they are criminals. And we must be hard on them. Otherwise, they will destroy our country. They have already destroyed our nation. They are going to destroy our country. Let us all stand up for the national anthem. O God of all creation, bless these our land and nation. Justice be our shield and defender. May we dwell in unity, peace, and liberty. Plenty be found within our borders. Let one and all arise with hearts both strong and true. Service be our earnest endeavor, and our homeland of Kenya, heritage and splendor, far may we stand to defend. Let all with one accord, in common bond united, build this our nation together.